And we're live. What up, Betty?
What up, Betty? Oh, man. This is a relatively chill week personally, but it's been crazy otherwise as far as the rest of the world is concerned. Like, shit been going crazy out here. I'm just one thing I'm tired of. I'm really tired of though, bro. I'm really tired of hearing the Civil War talk. Just do it already. You that mad? You know what I'm saying? You that mad? You feel like holding somebody accountable for shit they pulled. What's up, Cindy? What's up, Randall? You that mad? You angry enough to go on a public social media shit where the CIA, NSA, and FBI are monitoring periodically from time to time and say some goofy shit like Civil War or if you that salty and pissed because a rich dude probably isn't gonna go to jail for the shit, got found guilty for some shit that he pulled, that literally the people that was in on it with him snitched on him on the stand. If you that salty, make a move already.
Right.
Make a move. Oh, damn. I just realized that was Spawn and not Mother Demon. What up, McKenna?
Oh, shit, McKenna.
What up, McKenna? I just realized that.
God damn it, this is the last time I listened to you. I ain't even look.
Damn, we heard from McKenna in a minute.
Blind loyalty is a problem.
Yeah. Shut up. Look. How is the new place that you're living at?
Yeah, how are things?
You're away from Florida now, so
that's always a bonus.
Facts. Oh man. Yeah, man, just do it already if you're going to like yo, you saw how that shit worked out for you a few hundred years ago. Go ahead and do it again. Go ahead. Go ahead. Because I'm telling you, they're not going to make the same mistake they made last time. What they were supposed to do really is hang traitors. That's what was supposed to happen. Your ass was supposed to get hung, right? And they didn't do that because it was so personal to everybody. They had family members that, you know, it was sometimes brother against brother and all that. Man, fuck that. Fuck that. Because if they had done some of the shit that we dealing with now, we wouldn't be dealing with now had they done that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a bitter pill to swallow, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do in that situation because you're talking about your entire way of life, right? So if you want to go on social media, just a heads up. If you want to go on social media, go that far and publicly announce to the world that you're about to be a traitor or some shit, go ahead and do it then. Kick it off. You think you can deal with the Marine Corps? You think you tough? McKenna said it's been good, enjoying the nice weather. 64. Damn, for me. When I know mom is your mother sent me a screenshot of I think it was yesterday, 108. Listen.
Nah, big. I'm good.
Nobody.
I know I'll be complaining when it's wintertime.
Yes,
but I still don't want 108.
I just want it warm. Like
definitely not Florida 108.
No, sir. Not even. But yeah, man. Go ahead with all that pump faking shit y'all motherfuckers doing with that. Y'all do that shit all the time. Pump faking. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't waste our time with that bullshit. If you feel froggy, leap. You think you can handle the Marines? You think you can handle the United States Army? You think you can handle the Navy or the National Guard? Leap.
You know what happens to a toad when it's struck by lightning?
The same thing that happens to everything else. Go ahead. I'm tired of that pump faking, man. Do what you gonna do, and don't go after civilians. That's punk shit. That's punk shit. You've been playing military games in the woods with your camouflage on and shit. Like, nah, don't go after civilian. Go after what you was trained to go after. Do that.
Thanks.
Tired of the pump faking, man. Y'all did this shit every time. I saw this one motherfucker. I know what was going on. So he's talking about moving to a certain place, right? And I instantly knew why he did, because a lot of people didn't move. You'd be surprised how many people moved out of the country when Biden was elected. You'd be surprised. A lot of them, right? So, all right, y'all went and did that. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? That's cool. You went and did that shit, and you went someplace else. But these places that you go at don't have all the stuff that you brag about here, that you want to remain here. They don't have that over there as far as laws and shit like that. So I saw this one motherfucker get in the thread in one of these groups that's specifically about this particular place and ask them, hey, me and my wife, we make about $5,200 total a month. I wanted to know if that's going to be that would be enough for us to live down there, blah, blah, blah. And then out of all of the list of things he asked, one of the things on the list was, and can I get a gun down there? Ooh. So the responses to that was, at $5,200 a month combined, you and your wife, you will be living down there like you could not imagine. Right. Like your standard of living is definitely going to shoot up down there. But also, I would strongly encourage you to leave that American way of thinking in America. Most of the people that do live here, they don't have guns. And you can get one down here, but what they make you go through to get it, DNA samples and shit like that, it's not even worth it because you don't need it. And then he said, typically, a lot of the expats that come down here to get away from that type of culture. We don't have those type of problems down here. Right. There are other problems to be sure, but that ain't one of them. So leave that shit there. Like, you want to come down there and make mini America. Nah. They're not with that. They're not with that. They're not with it. So, like, do better. Or maybe don't come here. That part. Maybe don't come here. Like, there's other places maybe you might rather want to be than here. Like Russia. Yo, you took the words right out of my mouth, yo. Like, go to Moscow with that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, Moscow with that shit. Like, this place does not have those type of issues. What up, Discord? Very, very rarely. What up, Discord? So it's like, it's that mentality, bro. Like, and I can't, but like, I'm tired of it too. I really am. And look, I'm somebody that built guns. Like, I did that for a living for quite a few years. You know what I'm saying? But it's just this mentality here about, and think about it. It does make sense. This is a violent place. And in a violent place, people are going to look for ways to protect themselves. I think the question that we need to ask is, why is this place so violent? That people feel like they have to have that. That you have a nation of motherfuckers that suffer from PTSD that feel like when they go to someplace else, the first question they ask you, is it safe? How dare you? How dare you? How tone deaf must you be? Oh, extremely. Like, is it safe? Y'all on Twitter talking about having a civil war. I mean, fuck out of here. Is it safe? That's the type of bullshit I deal with whenever looking at travel stuff too. So yeah, I can imagine. These dumbass Americans that ain't never been nowhere. Ain't never been nowhere, bro. Oh, it's dangerous and such and such. Excuse me? Excuse me. Ma'am. You have never left the city limits of Baltimore. Right. What do you mean it's dangerous and such and such? What are we? Huh? It's the media, bro. It's the media. Like, the media will focus on. It's partially the media. The other part is just cognitive dissonance. It's like they're working off of how unfamiliar they are, right?
Yeah.
With these other places. And again, they see news reports of certain other places, right? That aren't everywhere, just a few other spots around the world. And they start assuming, oh, it got to be super dangerous. But the only reason why you see that danger is different is because that place is different.
Yeah.
But when you start breaking down, I ain't talking about the hot spots around the world, the war centers. Talking about these other places. We start breaking down like regular crime, the shit that you're actually talking about, that you're scared of. They don't have a lot of that. That's here. That's here. You know what I'm saying? The land of commodities. Everything can be sold. Anything that can be sold can be stole.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying, like, they just need to chill, yo. Like, for real.
It's not gonna happen.
They need to
not
chill.
gonna
No,
right.
It's not.
So we want we would do something similar to what we did last week. Well, not really, but format wise,
right?
Because I found some more remarkable dumbass of the weeks. Like,
oh my!
Again, because I'm gonna try. I can't tell you I'm gonna be successful, but I'm gonna try to have the dumbass of the weeks be more of the pure variety. Just a dumbass motherfucker saying dumbass shit. No necessary agendas, no high possibility of trolling.
Right.
Either just a dumbass saying dumbass shit or a dumbass saying something that will require other people to be dumbasses to believe it.
Right.
That was hilarious. I love that. That is one of my favorite stories.
This was a dumbass too.
That was my favorite stories. Got over there, couldn't access their money. It was a whole thing. It was the whole thing. All right. Let me see. So let me read you. Because nigga. And here's another situation that we can use because we are often express to y'all like we dumb too.
Yeah.
Like,
yes. Yes.
We dumb too.
Very much so.
We just think critically. That's it.
Like you gotta balance. That's all it is. You gotta balance the fact that you're dumb by being able to think critically. Like, because my first impulse is probably gonna be dumb. Like huh? And then I take that extra step to go, wait a minute. Let me look at this again. Yeah. And I managed to do that without posting the first.
Oh, nigga.
I managed to absolutely the first dumbass thought, right?
Absolutely.
That helps with the perception that we no shit.
There's no the whole rush to be first. I don't.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah. So here's the tweet that I stumbled across. The turbulence was so bad that the plane flipped, and bitch, I cried. My life flashed before my eyes. I almost peed on myself. I sent last messages to my loved ones. I cried with strangers. I thought it was my last day. Thank you, God, Muhammad, Yahweh, Buddha, pilot, plane, Mother Nature. So
you ain't sent no message.
Because I believe it or not, and I've said this several times on here, but sometimes hearing how I talk about humans, it might be hard to believe. I love the human condition. So I have sympathy and empathy for the human condition. So when I read this, it was 100% emotional when I first read it.
Of course.
I'm like, damn, that's crazy. That's wild. So I'm like, let me look at the comments. And someone, most of the comments were like, oh my God, there's so much stuff happening with the planes and people like this, and people talking about climate change, and people talking about this and that, which are all true. All of the comments were true. And then I got to this one comment. The internet is so weird. Why are you just lying like this? Just tell us what you're selling. And I said,
selling?
Now, generally, this is something that people will tend to do, sure. But
selling?
I started asking myself, why does this person believe so strongly that this person is lying, right? Like so strongly.
Mm-hmm.
Someone says, it doesn't read to me as a malicious lie. How do you expect someone who thinks they're about to die to express the academically correct words of their experience? Someone else says, how do you know she's lying? Somebody else said something that was very prescient, even though I think we just talked last week about how the media is not what it should be.
Yeah, it's not.
But somebody said, let me at the news media. They missed this story. And I realized, even as pay for play as the media is, mm-hmm. they are also in the entertainment business.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't behoove them to bury this story.
Oh, why would they bury it?
Right.
You would have to find a financial incentive for them to bury the story. Right. So, I hope I find the part that What up, Cosmic? What up? Okay, I'm sorry. Let me continue the OP's tweets. All we saw was clouds, and our stuff touched the ceiling. We were upside down, and everything. Wait a minute, she said what now? She said all we saw was clouds through the window. Right. And our stuff touched the ceiling. We were upside down, and everything in my life rushed through my head. Loud screams, cries, and prayers. So if you see me crying throughout my birthday dinners, because apparently she was on the way to vacation for her birthday. You see me crying during my birthday dinners, I'm thankful. Thank God. What up? I shook the pilot's hand. Dude about to be a godfather to my future children. To the people questioning me, here's the aircraft plane number. Google Boeing issues. I won't say anything more because multiple whistleblowers are coincidentally found dead. I'm good on that. So, first of all, that last statement is what really, really, really got me thinking. I won't say anything more because multiple whistleblowers are coincidentally found dead. I'm good on that. Madam, the very fact that you don't understand what a whistleblower is, you're so strongly saying this, now makes me look back at your post a little more strongly. A little more strongly. You got your magnifying glass and you're like, Yeah. So first of all, something like this would go viral. Not her tweet. Right. She says it was a Boeing 737 MAX 9. Let's do a quick Google. Your Googles? Sometimes you got to do your Googles. Boeing 737 MAX 9 capacity. $178 to 193 is the capacity of a Boeing 737 MAX 9. So you're telling me that let's lowball it. Let's even go lower than the max. Actually, I'm sorry. Maximum seats is 220. So let's go lower
been lower than that. Let's go 120.
Right.
Let's say 100 people didn't fill out the plane. Telling me the only person talking about this? You're the only person talking about this? Then I can't find the one that I was looking. Okay, here we are. Commercial aircraft are specifically made not to flip.
So I let you cook because I knew we was going to get here. But when the moment she said flip and then she was texting people, I was like, nah.
So the person who called her out, I'm sorry, I'll get to it. So again, I'm gonna reread the person who called her out. The internet is so weird. Why are you just lying like this? Just tell us what you're selling. Somebody responded and said, like, flipped upside down, and she's the only one reporting on it. In this climate of shit really going left, this is so irresponsible and attention seeking to tweet out. Reported as spam.
With Boeing and all. Yeah.
So the person who called it out says the G-force would have been lethal and killed all of the passengers. Any kind of inversion on a moving plane would be equivalent to a roller coaster flipping 7 consecutive times, meaning instant death. I studied physics at the university level. Our heart pumps blood constantly throughout our bodies, with the normal pressure on Earth being equivalent of 1 G. A loop on a roller coaster exerts a pressure on our body equivalent to 1.5 to 2 Gs. An extreme roller coaster, which does not exist because it is practically euthanasia, would loop more than 5 times in a row, exerting a pressure on our bodies equivalent to several Gs of force. At this point, our blood would rush to the center of gravity, starving our brains of oxygen. Your whole body would feel magnitudes heavier, and our hearts will strain to keep up. If a plane ever inverted in air, the momentum required to restore the plane to equilibrium would create a G-force strong enough to cause death by asphyxiation. You wouldn't be able to breathe. But breathing is not the main problem. The pressure in our hearts and the rest of our circulatory system would not be able to push blood against the force of gravity. Not only is she fucking lying, but she's insane and mentally unwell. A sad, sad case. Because why would she lie about that?
Again, that's why I asked, what would she be selling? This is not about selling anything. It's a dumbass story.
Well, I think her point was you're trying to go viral for a reason. Yeah, I think that's the point she was making. You're trying to go viral for a reason. Why are you trying to go viral?
And why at the expense of the airline industry? Considering all the things that has been going on. Like I said, bro, like sometimes I don't know why people do this. I really do. I have no explanation for it other than, like you said, they look seeking attention and trying to go viral. But it would seem to me you would have came with something much like you didn't think this out well. But I will say this, it's like you said earlier, people for the most part have empathy. The average person has empathy for the human condition. So when somebody has said to you that they just had a harrowing experience, you empathize with if you would have went through it, how that would have made you feel.
Right.
So you instantly, a lot of times you shut off the skepticism for the empathy, like, oh man, that's great. Yeah. But then when you go, like you said, you go back and look. Hold up. What?
Flipped? Man.
Yo, I'm telling you, the flipped and talking about you saw texting loved ones. Not
yeah, there's no way.
Not at 30,000 feet, you didn't.
First of all, there's a couple people, of course, defending her.
Of course, they always. There's people defend a lot. Diddy.
I mean,
Diddy. Right. There's always somebody.
Someone say I've been on a plane that started porpoising due to turbulence. One of the downbursts sent everything toward the ceiling and held it there for a good second or two before the plane leveled out. All right. Let me be clear. Let me be clear, right?
Right.
So you pulling out your phone at that moment? But they continue. Sometimes fear can amplify things, but I know where she's coming from.
I hate y'all.
Okay.
See, and this is why when SBJ said he loves like that. I love to observe and criticize the human condition. Fuck these monkeys. Listen, y'all love the lies, man. That's the thing that kills. Y'all love the lies, y'all.
I would like to be able to say you can't make this shit up, but clearly.
Oh, clearly you can, because she not only made the shit up. You know what I'm saying? But listen, I just don't. What I'm trying to figure out is, let's say you get what you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Your shit goes viral. It gets attention. Then what? How do you transfer this into monetary?
Well, everybody doesn't know that part is not the easy part. Like true. the easy part is being vulnerable or lying. That's the easy part.
Yeah.
The hard part is sustaining that shit and transferring it to something else. That's the difficult part. Somebody else tried to defend her. Your conclusion is quite ridiculous. She could have She could have felt the plane inverted, even if it did not actually. She felt she might die. You definitely
are doing the most mental gymnastics.
You definitely know her senses are already altered. Calling her mentally unwell seems very uncalled for. It doesn't take a genius to understand her feelings.
And that's the problem. The problem is y'all relying on feelings, and facts don't care about your feelings. Yeah. See, the reality that you're seeing this through the lens of feelings is what had you miss it the first time.
Yes, exactly, 100%. That's exactly what happened.
You know, like again, evidence to what you said too about not the last part, the monetizing this attention is the hard part. So you remember a little earlier this year that battle at that small league on beat with the dude Ty. I mean, that's probably one of the best rounds I've heard in a long time. He recently released the song, right? It didn't get the same amount because
of course not. It's hard to keep that momentum. It's hard. Funny, because we're talking about a plane flipping in the air. The momentum that would be necessary is very different. Somebody quote tweeted and said, "That's not how aerodynamics work. Airplanes don't flip." Yeah, because they don't. Fighter jets can flip.
Yes.
Yeah, you can go barrel roll in the fighter jet.
Very differently. If you look at the weight distribution of a fighter jet versus that of a commercial airline.
Somebody posted a GIF of like jets doing gymnastics, and it said Blue Angels Airlines.
Yo, not Blue Angels Airlines. That is so ass.
Do a barrel roll. Oh my god!
So what we have established is that the majority of those folks defending her never really had an understanding of how aerodynamics works. They don't understand physics, and they don't understand weight distribution. They don't understand any of those things, and because they don't understand it, they're passionately wrong. They're passionately wrong. Like, why would you say that to her? You see what she's been through? Bruh, no, she didn't. No. No. But it's like you said, bro, the empathy will have you ignore the flags in the statement because it happens to all of us. Like, because you hear something bad happen, and then you think of yourself in that person's place and how you would not have wanted that. So you do the very human thing.
Yeah. And that's why I hate on humans.
Right.
I did a very human thing, and I'm ashamed.
It's funny too because It's funny too because I was thinking just the other day about this very thing, about how I went into the wrong line of business. Because it's motherfuckers out here that are playing and grifting humans based off of what they know about human nature. They're getting bread because they understand human nature enough to know what it takes to grift them out of their dollars and their support. We watch this shit happen every fucking day. And I've seen numerous examples of it just this week of motherfuckers straight up grifting and people falling for the grift and they get bread. Meanwhile, you and I over here creating.
Ain't trying to be upstanding human beings.
Right. We ain't no closer to a falling yet.
No. We about to start grifting these motherfuckers. And just the dumb, low character ones.
Yeah. Get y'all out.
We gonna have to do some interviews to make sure, like, all right, okay, you are a piece of shit. Okay, we can continue.
That shit is crazy, bro. That shit is crazy. That's why, man, it's funny because everybody will say that the assholes and the grifters and all that are people they don't like. The scammers are people they don't like.
Nah.
But on a fairly consistent basis, they are
the people that are scamming you.
Yeah, yo, they get the support, bro.
You just don't realize you're being scammed.
Yeah, they like some of the most toxic, some of the people who I guarantee you, whatever you think of them from a distance, if you had to deal with them on a personal level, on a fairly consistent basis, you couldn't stand them motherfuckers. Y'all be cheering for. Yeah, they just said or did something that if they did that, so they said this on a national stage, but if they did that at a little family get together, you'd be ready to kick them the fuck out.
Right.
But y'all were cheering for that shit is crazy to me. That shit is crazy.
Hey, it is. You know what it is. All right. Another dumbass of the week, because I think, it's 4.
I put 5 and put Diddy on there.
This one, well, the 4th one, I mean, this one, I don't think we gotta go in depth on this one. It's just, actually, I do have to explain a little bit, probably, but whatever. Jay-Z didn't become a household name until he retired, became Beyonce's husband, and started doing all this other shit.
Oh, will you stop the cat?
Wait. Is he wildly successful and widely revered in rap? For sure. That nigga also ain't Michael Jackson just because you like the blueprint.
My God, man. So you do realize, right, that in order for somebody's shit to go platinum, especially back when the industry was what the industry was, when Jay-Z was super active, in order for you to go platinum, it's not just your niche audience.
Right.
It's not just your niche audience that is listening.
Oh, no, this nigga say more dumb shit. When I moved to Austin, Texas in 1999, now, real quick. So the time period between 1999 and him becoming Beyonce's husband is probably 6-7 years.
Yeah,
something like that. I don't know exactly, but about 6-7 years. When I moved to Austin, Texas in 1999 for 6th grade,
this migraine won't go away.
I was already a Jay-Z fan. They was not playing Do It Again on the radio at all. Big Pimpin' got plenty of burn, but why do you think that song was so big in Texas? Of course, UGK. That makes sense. I'm not disputing that. That absolutely makes sense. Right. It sure wasn't because of Jay-Z. Mind you, this after 5 million sold.
You're contradicting yourself again. If you're saying he sold 5 million, also, can we talk about demographics in radio programming for a minute? Nigga, you was in the 6th grade.
You were in the 6th grade.
One market.
Yeah.
One market. You do realize there are other markets. I get it. Most people don't understand how radio works.
Oh no, it gets worse.
It couldn't possibly.
I lived in Bentonville, Arkansas with my daughter's mother for a minute. You know who shit never got played on the radio there? What many non-Southern niggas don't understand about the South is we have been building on the local regional entrepreneurship with rap for just as long as just about any other place. Word to Rap a Lot is Suave House. Is he trying to say? Okay, Suave House, Cash Money, No Limit, Swisher House, Slip and Slide, etc. In addition to that, it ain't that niggas down south ever been anti-New York. That don't sound right. The shit popped off in New York. Y'all niggas gonna have your respect for that as you should. But beyond that, we fuck with rappers from the outside that the South that pulled up. Go to a random corner store in Kansas City, Missouri, and tell niggas Jay-Z better than E40. Pull your phone out and record it. I want to see what happened. Depending on who you say that to, you might need to be ready for a fight. There's a nigga somewhere in Savannah, Georgia that know all the words to Camouflage raps, still to this day, and couldn't name you 3 Jay-Z albums. There is way more than one such nigga, in fact.
All right, so this is what we need to do, right? This is what we need to do. Because, again, motherfuckers are talking about markets, all right? I just need to see the record sales of those guys you're talking about versus Jay-Z's record sales. I need to
know what? Not even that, though. Not even that. I don't think this really...
It shows more people.
There are certain times where I want to respond to somebody being wrong with research and data. Mm-hmm. No, this isn't one of them. Just think about the story about Juvenile and how Jay-Z ended up on the High remix. That was kind of when several people in the industry have said that is when Jay-Z broke through in the South. And that song, I think is like 1998 or something like that. So, yeah.
The whole year before you went to the 6th grade, sir.
Yeah. I just don't. Like, this is one of the things I see a lot on social media these days is revisionist history with Jay-Z for some reason. And I don't quite understand it.
It ain't just Jay-Z. This is a thing. I don't know. I can't quite narrow down the time period when they started doing this goofy shit.
Yeah.
But they with a lot of the people who clearly made their mark, clearly made their bread, clearly was known around the world, they are now going back and trying to do this revisionist history.
Right.
And it's
because there's proof there. Like even with the stuff with like the younger folk not understanding things like September 11th was on TV in schools. Yeah. Like for the younger folk to be like, that never happened. That's more understandable because there's not really a bunch of proof of that fact. Right? Like, so it's possible that they couldn't ever come across proof to say that other than listening to what a motherfucker say.
It's true.
It's different. This is demonstrable. This is a quick Google search. Like,
this is the thing, right? So if a motherfucker don't know something, it's how you don't know that has me go at you crazy, right? If you don't know something and you arrogant as fuck with your ignorance and shit, at that point, that's when it gets insulting, because when I don't know shit, typically I'm gonna ask, right? Or I'm gonna put a caveat. I don't know if this is true, but if so,
right.
They don't do that. They get with their whole face. The confident ignorance is one of the most annoying things in existence. Confident ignorance.
You often hear me say, I think, I'm not sure, around the time.
Right.
I'm not a such and such, but blah blah. I have no problem qualifying my statements.
Yeah.
Because I'm aware that I am not aware.
So I just want to know this though. Like when we done made it cool to be every debauched thing you can think of. Like shit that we would look at before and go, nah, yo. We made it cool for motherfuckers to snitch on themselves online, right? Mm-hmm. Criminal wise. You snitching on yourself. We made it cool to do that. When are we gonna make it cool to be correct?
No. That's all we even going. No. Not a thing. Sorry. Not gonna happen.
I think I was so naive to that. I want to say roughly around 2010. From 2010 probably to 2016, I was really naive about that shit. It's the reason, I had a YouTube channel talking about certain stuff and they created content to what certain thing. We can make it cool to know shit. No, you can't.
No. The problem is there are too many Homo sapiens. If we had
full stop.
if we had Homo superior, maybe things would slowly start to improve.
Like mutants? I don't know, because in X-Men, you got some ignorant ass mutants.
I know, but they made it to Krakoa.
It's true.
But then other things happen. That's not the point.
There's nothing. I can't seriously think of anything that would do that, yo. I don't. And this is why I do as much as a proponent I am for the development of AI and stuff like this. I start to realize something. We've learned from our experience with the internet that we were wrong about certain assumptions. We assumed that access to information quickly and mostly unfettered would make us a better species. What we learned is you can't have access to information quickly and unfettered without also having access to misinformation. And at the end of the day, it's not about the knowledge that's out there. It's about the mind that is consuming it, how well they have been trained to assess claims. No. I
feel like we're switching roles. Your picture that you're painting is too bright. We need to be with the dim reality that training doesn't even necessarily fix the issue. This is an inherent issue. This is an inherent issue. Yes, there are people who can be trained to do it better, but there are absolutely people who can't be trained to do it better.
And it's a lot of them. It's like, so when if somebody was to ask me percentage wise, I think it was more that could than more that couldn't. To this day, right now in 2024, right now, I would say there are more that can't. Not.
I wouldn't argue.
More that cannot, because, and I know sample size matters, and we talk about this shit all the time. Sample size matters. So I know by myself, I am not going to be able to observe.
Right.
But I'm hearing it from too many. I'm hearing it from two people with the same goddamn experience. So if I'm capable of, in the lifespan of me being on the internet, let's say I have seen 100,000 comments, right, and a big portion of those comments have been ass on these topics and shit. And then I talk to 20 other people, and they go, "Yeah, bro, like,
right." I feel like, because that's a lot of people, because it is an exponent. It's not addition. So that's a lot of fucking people. That's
and AI just sees that bit, and that's what's trained Skynet training.
I mean,
look.
Listen. Sorry.
What did I say in that verse I released?
Bro.
I said, don't really gotta Say why. I'm rooting for the AI. You know what I'm saying? You humans made it rain blood. I'm only trying to stay dry. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Like.
All right, this next one.
This segment is a data point.
This next one. You know how we talk about periodically that they need to bring back shame?
Yeah, we talked about that last week. Like,
okay, yeah,
shame has its uses. Shame has its uses.
Well, this person wants something else brought back.
What do you want back?
She.
Okay.
Bring back the days where children didn't have to be savants to be on stage. No matter how big the stage, they're still little. It's kind and confidence building to support their interests, even when they're awkward or even awful at it. North did great. So for context, Northwest was in a production of The Lion King.
Mm-hmm.
And she sucked all the ass in the world. And she also was in an outfit that was not
age appropriate.
Not age, story appropriate.
Okay.
So here's one. Okay, let's look at some comments before I look at the one post that kind of just shuts all this shit down.
Are you telling me that this particular person believes that only savant children are allowed on stage?
No. Okay, so the argument that she's making is it should be fine that North was on stage in this production of The Lion King, this big, massive production of The Lion King, because she's only a child. Mm-hmm. So let me read some of the comments. Someone says, I don't know what convos look like on your timeline, but I think this kind of missed the mark. On my timeline, the people critiquing North's performance did so to highlight how nepotism is rewarded at the expense of others' passion, talent, and hard work. It's an indictment of the adult decision makers,
not the child.
Right. Somebody else said, yes, it's nah. I got to disagree with you on this. The theater/stage is a practice and avocation for many, and it is honestly really disrespectful to the other child performers who do the work to hone their skills and get opportunities stolen due to nepotism.
I agree. This is not about the kid. This is not about the kid. This is about these adult decisions that motherfuckers are making to lessen the quality of a production and cheapen the work those other kids did, because they got to matter too.
Right.
So their father ain't no big rapper.
Right. But then their mother Kardashian.
Right.
No, it's not Kim Kardashian. Like, right. What? They had to work. Yeah, their parents had to have money generally in order to get the training that they would need and all that other good stuff. Sure.
Right.
But unfortunately, we live in a capitalistic society, and meritocracy is only a
myth.
Well, I wouldn't go so far as to say it's a myth. In the way that people want it to exist, it absolutely is a myth.
Right.
But like the real world implication of meritocracy in this country is based on other benefits.
What up, Iron Woman?
What up? It's based on other benefits that person may have had.
Right.
Getting to a certain point in order to gain the merit.
Right.
That would
But in other words, there's no even playing field where
it's not solely because you happen to be better at something. No, there's something that had to happen for you to get better.
Right.
And that is based in capitalism because we're a capitalistic society. So
everything's a commodity here. Access to shit, people. Everybody's a commodity here.
The reason that I'm making this person dumbass of the week is because you're intentionally missing the point. Because listen to some of her responses. I hear you. Assuming the child was on the billing and not an understudy or surprise, did the audience actually think they'd be getting a pro performance? Yes, the parents are extra and the child isn't a pro, yet they were allowed. It's the system's issue, not limited to the parents. You're arguing a point that nobody's making. Nobody said the system. Nobody said the system is right here. No, right. You're arguing that there are children out there who have been busting their ass in order to get this spot, and simply because she is the daughter of famous rich people.
Yeah.
Who have no background. It's not a legacy thing. Even though legacy can be just as bad, but this one isn't a legacy thing.
No,
Kanye it's simply a Nepal thing. This is simply a Nepal thing.
Yeah.
Somebody else.
Hold up, before you continue, something that McKenna says here. This is what we mean by you're snatching opportunities. This is potentially career building for those kids. Northwest will never have to worry about money.
Never have to work.
She will never have to work. She don't have to do anything she doesn't want to do. Facts. Some of these kids, on the other hand, this could be their ticket. This is one of the things that could be on their resume. That's a ticket.
Absolutely.
Other big things. It's not right. It shit ain't right. It ain't right.
Another one of her responses. I hear you. The parents went as far as they were allowed to go, likely by someone high up in the organizational chart. Also, the mom's talent / skill is being uber famous without talent / skill. The hustle is real. No. Another response. I don't believe in the idea of mediocre children. Ma'am. Somebody else said to her, "This is not a school play, though," which is very important.
That's what Biddy just said. That's what Biddy just said.
She says, "I'm fully aware. It sounds like everyone should be rallying against the event's decision makers about the integrity of their audition and selection practices, not criticizing the child." All of it is connected.
She's dense.
Yes. All right. So somebody responded to her, quote tweeted her and said, "I'm sorry, but her parents using their status to get a role that's coveted among the theater community is downright rude. And they designed her costume. They designed her a costume that didn't go with the aesthetic of the production."
Oh, stop. Of course they did.
I mean, look at the parents are. Right. It didn't go with the aesthetic of the production. Kim could have created a whole show, rented out a stage, and put on a production of their own if she wanted to.
And had her go up there and do that for your baby.
Right. North does not have the skill required for that particular opportunity that was taken away from other children who put the work into audition. Support children always, but also let's not pretend this just wasn't another case of the mega rich steamrolling whoever and whatever. Outside of her performances.
Now go ahead, continue, but I got something to say about that whole thing.
Outside of her performance, they clearly did not take the production seriously. Nope. Imagine rolling up to a production after you get a role and telling them you brought your own costume.
My God, man. What are we doing? What are we doing? Can I respond to the mediocre children thing?
Mm-hmm.
See, what y'all tend to do is you take the script that is negative, I would say, or considered negative, and then you add the other thing to it to make it sympathetic, so that it seems like you're insulting this thing, right?
Right.
It's not about mediocre children. It's about mediocre talent. Here's the thing. There are plenty of children that have mediocre talents in certain things. They're great in other things.
Yes,
very mediocre, and they're sometimes completely trash.
No, remember your train of thought, because I'm gonna forget this, so I don't say this right now.
Okay.
It's something that I've been saying. There's something that happened this week, and people were very confused as to why it happened, and I had to explain this to them. It's something that we say all the time. I've just never said it like this. People have very bad habit. What up, sis? People have a very bad habit of assuming that because someone understands a thing better than them, then that means that that person is smart. That is not what that means. It means they just understand that thing better than you do.
That's it.
That's
it, bro. Listen, most information for humans is compartmentalized. Right. There are things that if you come and talk to me about, I could go on for days talking about the nuances of this subject and this topic and blah, blah, blah. And in that moment, in that moment on that topic, compared me to you, I am more knowledgeable about this topic and maybe a little more excited about it than you are as well. So that's why it stuck with me the way it did. We could go the next day and have a completely different conversation about a completely different topic, and you basically LeBron Jordan.
Watch.
You know what I'm saying? And you take those slices and say, oh, this means this person's smarter than this person. Oh, this means person. No, it don't. It means they know more about this specific topic than the other person does.
That's it.
That's all it means. And to that very point you made, this is the same thing with kids.
Yes.
There are some things, some activities kids are either not as excited about. It's cool, but they're excited about it. So they don't put their best effort into that shit because they don't really care about it as much. Or 100%. There's some other reason why it just doesn't click with them. So it's not that. Then you find some other thing out there that they're excited about, or there are times when they're not excited about it. It's just something about who they are that clicks with this activity, and they excel at it without thinking. Like, yeah, that's nothing. So we can say there are children that are phenomenal at a thing, the same way we can say there are children that are mediocre at a thing.
Or even terrible.
Or even horrible at a thing.
Abysmal.
This is not talking about the quality of the child.
Right.
It's talking about the activity, the specific activity, and their either skill or lack thereof to be able to participate in this. So y'all need to stop coming with this dumb shit, trying to make people feel bad, trying to do this emotional baggage, right?
Bro.
Mediocre child. No, nobody said mediocre
child. And this type of explanation being needed is the type of sensitivity that I'm talking about when I say people are too sensitive.
Yes.
I'm not talking about people getting rights and people being able to live their lives. No, I'm talking about shit where there's a very basic principle that we used to understand as a collective, but for some reason we have to explain nowadays.
No, it's manipulative, bro. I firmly believe it's manipulative. People are bad faith actors in a lot of conversations. Because motherfuckers want
to be right. Good reasons.
Even for good reasons. Because motherfuckers want to be right. So in a case like that, instead of them, if they wanted to be correct instead of being right, if they wanted to be correct, they would know not to put these two words together, mediocre child.
Right.
But because they're trying to win the argument through salacious means, right? But they will put this really bad. The word isn't bad, it's just in the script. But then when you connect it to child, you're making it seem as though this child's value is media. That's not what anybody's talking about.
It's not what anybody is trying to say.
You're being manipulative, and you need to be called out on that shit every time. Every time. And by the way, that kid sucks at baseball. That kid absolutely stinks at soccer. This kid couldn't sing their way out of a wet paper bag with a hole in it.
Facts, and they are absolutely okay things to say. Now, there's context. There's always context. There are always situations in which even those things would be bad to say. However, in aggregate, we're not talking to the kid. We're not telling the kid you're a terrible piece of shit. What are you doing? You should die. Like what? No.
Listen. No one's saying that to the child.
Nobody is knocking on Northwest's bedroom door and saying, "Hey,"
rocks to her window, so she opens the window. And goes,
"You are really terrible at this thing." No,
nobody's
doing that. That's not what's happening.
It's goofy.
So
it's goofy.
That quote tweet, her parents using status and blah 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 blah. So she responds to the quote tweet and she says, "Again, I hear you. Clearly you don't, because you keep saying this shit to everybody that has any critique of your statement.
Please don't say you hear me again.
I hear you, and the parents are. I hear you, and the parents are a different story. I'm specifically speaking about the child and referring to the criticism of her performance and appearance. None of this should be directed at the child. She did well and looked great. The person who she just responded to said she actually did not do well And them choosing to put her in an outfit that made no sense for the production are valid criticisms. Her parents knew that they would be opening her performance up to critique when they did what they did. She has room to grow, but first, they got to take it seriously. Boom.
Listen, bro, that part.
Hold up. But this next statement is a valid statement on its own. I feel sorry for that kid. Valid. 100% valid. But
because the values that her parents are putting in her head, let's just say we feel bad for her now.
Yes.
When she's 35 and still with that dumb shit that our parents put in her head, she's going to annoy the fuck out of you all.
Yep.
Out of you all.
Mm-hmm.
Out of you all. Because they don't stay kids. You don't need to have had a kid.
They don't stay
to recognize that they don't stay kids.
Nigga,
right?
I have helped raise several kids.
Guess what?
They don't stay kids. They are no longer, none of them are any longer kids. I mean, technically, 2 of them are still kids,
right.
But they ain't still kids, my nigga. Like, they grow up, they have their own problems and issues and all this other type shit. Exactly. Things they want to do, things they don't want to do, things they like, things they don't. They are human.
We have to be a bit more nuanced in how we talk about this shit because they don't stay kids. So the way they are trained, the values that they are given, if they don't find a mentor outside of their fucking shit show of a parentage, right? If they don't find somebody that hey, listen, I know they're your parents, but them motherfuckers, look, this is how the rest of this is what we are in. If they don't find that child who we all have empathy for will turn into an adult. Everybody was a child once.
Yep.
Donald Trump was a kid once. Everybody was a kid, yo. But they don't stay that.
The biggest part of this is the fact that she's approaching this as if this is some high school play. It was the Hollywood Bowl. What are we talking about here?
Hold up. But here's the thing. Here's the thing about the Hollywood Bowl. And while you and I, everybody in this chat would probably have that exact same feeling you just had right there. Because it's the Hollywood Bowl. And we are regular folk.
Right. Like,
Kim Kardashian is not regular folk.
No.
West is not regular folk. So to them,
by extension, Northwest is not regular folk.
So you might as well, instead of saying Hollywood Bowl, you might as well have said toilet bowl to them because to them, this ain't a big deal. This is not going to change her life in any substantial way as far as how well she lives, as far as quality of life and access to big money.
You know what? I'm going to stillman them for a second. I can imagine how amazing it would be if you have a child and they say, "Mommy, I want to do this," and you say, "Okay."
Right.
I'll stillman them for that.
Right.
However, that's it. That's all I got.
That's all you got.
I ain't got nothing else for them but vitriol. And
I'm gonna need you. This other thing too, Miss. I hear you. I'm gonna call her ears. Listen. You look super crazy over there trying to defend that. I see a lot of you motherfuckers do that. Let me ask you this, completely off topic. Is your refrigerator full?
That's funny.
Let me ask you this. Are you late on the car payment? Let me ask you this. If you lost your job today, how long would you be able to go paying your bills and living the same quality of life until you got another one?
Right.
See, I'm going to need you to put a lot of defense in proper nuance. This girl, Northwest is fine.
Oh.
Northwest
will always be.
Monetarily
there are a couple things that can happen to derail her life.
Yes, absolutely.
But in general, she'll be fine.
She'll be fine. And she has a big cushion of money to fall on if she slips. Yeah. Right? But also
the society that she lives in almost guarantees she won't slip that way.
And ears is evidence of that.
Yeah.
Ears is evidence of that, because look at the extent you're going to run as she falls and use your body to cushion the
Nope,
impact.
and she did great, and she looked great. Wait, what?
No, she didn't.
The outfit, I haven't even seen the outfit. The argument that I've seen people make about the outfit, right? I don't need to. The argument that people have been making about the outfit is not that it was ugly.
It's that it wasn't
It's
appropriate.
that it wasn't appropriate for the story that she was in.
So imagine this, right? You're doing Lion King, and everybody in there is supposed to be in the costume of an animal, and you come in that motherfucker dressed as a car.
Yo, or you walk in on some Michael Jackson Beat It type shit.
Like, please explain to me how you look great.
Right.
Now, outside of the play, that might be the dopest car costume or
fire shit.
That shit must be fire. But in the context of the play, you did not look great.
Right.
There were no cars. Let me help you guys. There were no cars on the plains of the Serengeti.
Right.
Not a one.
No.
Not a one.
Right.
No,
the
it wasn't.
lengths
It
that
wasn't
people are willing to go.
Like,
right.
Come on. I need y'all to.
The lengths that people are willing to go, my guy.
Bro, it's the dumbest. Hence, dumbass.
Hey.
Like some of the shit you do realize you don't have to do any of this.
You don't. That's the worst part to me. Like I said, some people will do the bad face shit for a good reason, right? And I can empathize with someone that's super pro children, and maybe they're a teacher or a counselor or some type of shit. I can empathize with that. And in general, she would be right. In general, in a vacuum, she would be right.
All of it is not
correct. How this that is not how this works.
Any of this
You're not in a vacuum.
There's context.
Context all around the situation that you're willfully ignoring.
And you seem very tone deaf to it.
Yes.
So even if you are an advocate for children professionally, I question whether or not you're a mediocre advocate, because you can't separate what this argument is actually about, and you keep trying to apply it in places where it's not.
May not be the most effective advocate.
That's what I'm saying. You might be, in fact, mediocre.
Passionate. You might be a passionate advocate. Absolutely.
Passionate mediocrity. It's passionate mediocrity. I'm sure it's gotten you far, right? You walk into a room and they see you're so passionate about the well-being of the kid, but you're actually mediocre at this shit, because there are just some things there are some switches in your brain that never got turned on during your developmental stage or during your educational process to get to this job that you had. Right. Some switches didn't switch on, and now you're just not getting it.
Sis, I do not know. I have not seen the pictures, but what I know is a bunch of people are saying that it wasn't story appropriate. Like, wow. I
haven't seen it either, so that's why when people say not story appropriate, I'm assuming it wasn't a lion,
right?
Or it wasn't a warthog, or
it could have possibly been it could have possibly been the case where it was a lion, but it was somehow like a sexy lioness or some shit. I don't know. I don't know. All I'm saying is the argument that people have been making.
A sexy lion, yeah.
Listen. The argument that people are making is that it wasn't story appropriate. I have not seen anybody say it wasn't age appropriate. Right. I have not seen people say like anything like that. So I don't know for sure.
When I hear story inappropriate, I think he was dressed as something that wasn't part of the theming. That's
right. That's another thing. That's another thing. It could be, because when they do these reimaginings of these stories, sometimes they add a theme to it. So it could be a situation where there was a very, very specific thing that they were going with, and Kim was just like, "No, a lion."
Or here's another thought. So let's say she was technically dressed as a lion, but the style of how the other lions were dressed all matched the production value of the show, and she came out there as a glittery lion,
right?
Glitter everywhere
with VVS's. And...
You're right. Right. That could have been, and she could have looked.
Since said no, it looked like Kanye designed it. It's a lion from this goofy, poofy lion. But it definitely gave lion. But that's what I'm saying. It might have been a lion, but it still might not have flowed with the theme of everybody else's costume.
Right here. I think it's because
McKenna
costumes were realistic, and her lion costume was an oversized hoodie and shorts with a fur head. Yo, she was out of pocket, yo.
Right,
she was
right.
out of pocket, yo. She was out of pocket.
Hilarious.
Let me give you an example. Another example that we
fuck.
all.
Yo, no, Chrissy
gave lion.
Chrissy just sent me the picture. No, nigga. It's literally what is describing. It is a hoodie, some shorts, and some fluff.
Come on, bruh. You don't look. Come on now. Listen. Imagine one Saturday at 11 a.m. Y'all click on the link.
Yo,
and
this one said wasn't in line with the other.
It wasn't aligned with that. Listen, imagine y'all on a Saturday, 11 o'clock, y'all come, click on the link, and you see a bald Asian guy with glasses and this shirt, and you see another Asian guy with dreads sitting over there.
Right.
It's the Black Culture Geeks. Y'all gonna be like,
come on now.
Wait a minute, what?
Dude, look at your Facebook Messenger.
Hold up.
Nigga.
Yo. They trolled them people, yo. They trolled them, yo. No.
Oh my God.
No.
There's no way.
Hold up, yo.
No, I'm gonna show it.
No. Yo, they trolled them people, yo.
Oh God. No. Fuck no.
No.
Hell no.
No.
God damn it.
No.
What are we doing?
No. Hell no. No.
No. No.
Yo, what's that Tracy Morgan meme? No. Yo,
they
up that motherfucker looking like the rest of them kids up there looking like they straight from Animal Kingdom at Disney World, and her ass is up there looking. No.
Yo, that's not even cosplay level.
They trolled them. No, that she could have wore that. She could have wore that out somewhere. Yo,
yeah, and nobody would have thought.
Nobody would have thought.
I think it's just the makeup. I don't know. It's a whole thing.
They trolled them, yo. Of course, Jay signed off on that. Of course, he
come
did.
on now.
Of course, he did. You seen this?
Maybe not. No, maybe not. Because I don't know what their relationship is like right now.
Oh, that's true too.
So, maybe not. Yeah, McKenna said that hoodie looks like a low-budget school play that just got a sample of furry fabric hot glued to the hood and called it a day. Facts. That's exactly what it looked like. What are you doing? What is going on here?
That entire production.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what role she played. Oh, she played young Simba, but no, not the whole show. But
that's outlandish. That's outlandish.
If she played young Simba, she was like 1/3 of the show.
Listen,
because he don't stay. I mean, but again, it depends on what story they told.
Oh, you know, Cubs don't stay.
Yeah, right. So it depends on what story they told. But if they told the original The Lion King story from the original Disney movie, that's only probably like a third of the movie. That Simba is that small.
And if she didn't, if you only played Simba being a child in that role, that means that the next person that came in to play Simba as an adult had on an appropriate costume. This is jarring. This is jarring. Like come on, like they trolled them people, yo.
They trolled the fuck out of them people.
They trolled them people, man.
And the last dumbass of the week, actually, Rose.
One more thing on that topic. When she got up there, what if instead of doing the lines from The Lion King, she did Hamlet?
She might as well.
Did Hamlet.
It's related enough. Yo, Benny said Martin costume to play Big Bird's baby. That's hilarious. So the last dumbass of the week actually rolls into the topic. So I'm just gonna go ahead and change the banner.
Exactly, sis. This is what we were talking about. I feel bad for celebrity kids until they get big enough to be obnoxious.
Facts.
That's it.
Fact. Like I said, the last dumbass of the week rolls into the topic. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch the banner. So someone said the Rolling Stone piece is incredible journalism, not just exhaustive, not just heartbreaking, but actually seeks to paint a portrait of a personality and diagnose a pathology, which it does convincingly, as great as a story that terrible can possibly be. Now, there's someone quote tweeted this, and that person is who is getting the last slot for Dumbass of the Week. This person said they had 30 years to write this, 30 plus years to write this, and only swung big after the Cassie situation. Why aren't we talking about how many decades the press, especially music journalists and outlets, protected Puffy? And the reason that is, so you might hear that and think, why is that Dumbass of the Week? Well, here's the reason. People who aren't journalists and never had to face the repercussions of investigative journalism are always so loud about what could have been done. You will fucking do it then. I think there was another one. Oh, here are several other replies to explain to you how stupid this fucking tweet was. That man was going to people's offices and beating them with chairs.
No, beating the fuck out of them with chairs.
Cars were being blown up. People were being hung. This man was in a whole different continent assaulting people. Half of the sources from the article remained anonymous because to this day, they're scared of retribution.
Hey,
another person. It's easy to say what one could or should have done, especially as a music writer journalist when your life and career is on the line. Another person. Stories often get suppressed by those in power due to their relationships. When I worked in hip hop, we had well-evident stories we couldn't publish because, quote, that's fam, we fuck with them, end quote. I talked to when this whole shit broke with the Cassie lawsuit. We aren't technically journalists, but we did a journalistic thing. We went to the Revolt website.
Yo, I like the way
on the show.
You said that. You know why? Because I get sick of hearing motherfuckers going, I'm kind of a scientist. No, the fuck you're not.
No.
No, stop it. Stop. I hate when
No, fuck that. No, I would never disrespect the
journalistic crap.
Integrity. Yeah, I would never. But I felt compelled to do some research. A little light research.
Something.
Yeah.
You said something.
If y'all didn't see the episode on the show, I went to the Revolt website.
Yep.
I searched his name.
Yep.
I looked at current stories.
Right.
I searched for other people who had been in trouble with the law. I did all that shit. Found nothing about Diddy's issues. Found things about other people's issues. That's a reason that this shit didn't happen.
Last week, instead of doing what a lot of these motherfuckers was doing with Terrence Howard shit, I went and checked his claims.
Facts.
Instead of just watching the clips of him saying the dumb shit, I checked his claims.
Right.
That doesn't make me a journalist, but that is a very journalistic thing to do.
Yeah.
That's what you're supposed to do if you're going to be reporting to the world on a certain topic and shit. Fuck.
Absolutely. Another person, I won't say too much about this, but some journalists have tried. Some people who are now speaking out didn't want to speak out before the Cassie lawsuit. We can't force anyone to talk to us. They have to be ready to talk and willing to share evidence of corroborating what they've seen.
Exactly.
Another person, I'm also going to take the opportunity to point out that this is not at all disconnected from the increased profiles and interviews artists are allowed to produce about one each other. The cheapening of media in exchange for access has only gotten worse. Another one, Diddy got Wendy Williams fired, and she had to move to Philly to find another radio job. Bones whistleblowers keep mysteriously dying, but here you are with this fake. You're either disingenuous or you're not smart.
Yo, keep in mind, Wendy Williams.
Right. He got Wendy Williams fired.
So if he can get somebody,
he had to move to another market in order to get another job.
So that means not only did he get her fired, he got her blackballed from out of the market. So if he could do that to a Wendy Williams, what is he going to do to some average ham and nigger journalist writing an article and shit?
Right. Do y'all know how many publications killed stories that brave journalists were writing like this? And not just 30 or 20 or 10 years ago, but like 1 or 2 years ago. Yeah. This is how the culture of power, money, patriarchy, and silence works. Yeah. Stories like the Rolling Stone one help chip away at that. And I don't need to quote for this one. We talked about the shit last week. Van Lathan was approached with a story when he was working at TMZ.
Facts.
And the culture of TMZ made him feel as though he shouldn't touch the story.
Right.
So, yeah, let's be for real with this shit.
And let's call a spade a spade. In the perfect world that y'all motherfuckers are envisioning, it shouldn't matter. Like, oh, he's abusing people. He's doing this, he's doing that. But we know that in the real world, there are consequences. And people are hard put to throw what they work for away for strangers who have access to either unlimited money or the potential to get to that point by being in the positions that they are in. And people will rationalize and say they there because they thought they was going to get something. So people will rationalize. Now, do I not feed my family anymore or make it difficult for my household to continue to do this thing, knowing this guy is a maniac and he would either have something done to me or I would have to do something to the person that he paid to do some shit to me. Either way, my life is fucked. Right. Fucked. If I got to kill one of these motherfuckers that he paid to come around here and do something to me or my family, my life is fucked.
Yeah. Like this is why I have a very complicated relationship with martyrdom, like actual martyrdom.
Yes.
It's because I don't feel like we should celebrate, should is the wrong word. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like we should feel compelled to celebrate somebody making such great of a sacrifice for a good that they didn't, right or wrong, they didn't make.
Yeah.
However, it's how we move forward with certain things.
Well, humans have shown that as a whole, we will not move on anything that could be considered a greater good unless one person goes up and makes a sacrifice, and then we feel bad afterwards. And then decide we're going to do that to honor the person that did that.
Right. So that's why I have a very, very complicated relationship with that shit, because I know it's necessary, but
because of the human condition.
Right. Yeah.
But at the same time, you're like, God damn, what? See, this is what gets you mad at people.
Yes.
He or she had to take the whole burden. And if everybody would have pitched in, that person,
it would have been just fine.
Yeah.
Everybody would have been in a better place, but whatever. Anyway, so I'm going to read this article. I think calling it an article is disrespectful. Okay. It's an expose. It is very thorough. It's going to take a while for me to finish this article.
It's thorough.
Yeah, it's very okay. Bad Boy for Life, Sean Combs' History of Violence. For decades, Sean Diddy Combs was hip-hop's boisterous showman. Now, dozens of former friends, employees, and bad boy artists allege an abusive, menacing figure behind the facade.
He wasn't that boisterous. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, he took the stage at the BET Awards in June 2022 to receive a Lifetime Achievement Award. Sean Diddy Combs was elated. Yeah, he bellowed, punctuating his words with triumphant jumps. The adoring crowd who gave him a sustained standing ovation, including his mother and children, long-term friends, and music industry peers, Kanye West, Janelle Monáe, Babyface, Lil Wayne, etc. After 3 decades of relentless hustling that took him from hungry teenage intern to A&R executive, producer, label impresario, respected fashion designer, and household brand name, Diddy had seemingly reached the apotheosis of his career. He closed his eyes and repeatedly thanked God. He got down on one knee and praised his mother. He name-checked the laundry list of people who mentored and inspired him. Quote, anything I do is through love, end quote. Combs proclaimed early in a 9-minute speech, quote, that's what I evolved to be, and that's what I'm doing right now, end quote.
Love.
But soon, Combs struck a more somber tone. Quote, I was in a dark place for a few years. I got to give a special thank you to the people that was really there for me. End quote. He listed friends and advisors. Then, looking directly into the camera, he added, quote, Cassie, for holding me down in the dark times, love, end quote. He raised one hand to make an L sign and held his gaze steadily, silently for several seconds. Combs and Cassandra Ventura, a former singer for his iconic Bad Boy record label, had split 4 years earlier, but he had been openly pining for her ever since. He posted photos of her online and urged her to listen to Michael Jackson's The Lady in My Life. He publicly congratulated her on her first pregnancy with her husband. His comments at the awards show were part of a pattern of behavior, one that had been tormenting Ventura for years. When she learned of her ex's latest remark, sources say Ventura was distressed. She was also resolute. Almost 18 months later, in November 2023, Ventura sued Combs, claiming he held her in a violent form of sexual servitude throughout their relationship and raped her upon their final breakup in 2018. She invoked Combs' BET speech in her filing, quote, for Miss Ventura, the dark times were those she spent trapped by Mr. Combs in a cycle of abuse, violence, and sex trafficking, end quote. She said Combs' brutal beatings, one of them captured in the harrowing hotel surveillance video obtained by CNN in May, left her with bruises, burst lips, black eyes, and extensive trauma.
You're crazy.
For Grammy-winning songwriter Tiffany Red, a friend of Ventura's, who worked closely with the singer during the height of the alleged abuse, Combs' words from the BET stage had been a taunt. It's like harassment, she explains. You're still fucking with her. Leave her alone. Leave her the fuck alone. In the 5 years after her breakup with Combs, Ventura remained silent. While he was posting about her pregnancy in 2019, she was negotiating in distress behind the scenes to escape her Bad Boy contract, Red says. Despite Ventura signing a 10-album deal in 2006, Bad Boy only released one studio album by her. Combs was allegedly trying to tie her separation agreement to a non-disparagement clause. Quote, it's not like we were negotiating with just her record label. We were negotiating with her abuser, end quote. Through her lawyer, Ventura declined to speak on this article. Combs did not respond to a request for comment on this allegation. At some point, Ventura checked herself into a rehab center to deal with the physical and psychological repercussions of her time with Combs and found renewed purpose in being a mom, her lawsuit says. When she eventually gathered her strength and stepped forward, a flurry of other lawsuits followed. 5 more women have since accused Combs of rape or violent sexual assault, dating as far back as 1990. 2 of whom claimed that Combs secretly recorded their sexual encounters and showed the footage to others without their consent. Music producer Rodney Jones, Lil Rod, also sued, alleging Combs groped his genitals and forced him to solicit sex workers and perform sex acts to the pleasure of Mr. Combs. While Combs would eventually take responsibility for the assault captured on surveillance video, he has vehemently denied all the other allegations against him. The day Ventura filed her complaint, he blasted it as a shakedown based on outrageous lies. Quote, for the past 6 months, Mr. Combs has been subjected to Miss Ventura's persistent demand of $30 million under the threat of writing a damaging book about their relationship, which was unequivocally rejected as blatant blackmail, end quote, his lawyer, Ben Brathman, said. In response, Ventura's lawyer, Douglas Wigdor, said Combs, quote, offered Miss Ventura 8 figures to silence her and prevent the filing of this lawsuit, end quote. The parties came to an undisclosed settlement within 24 hours of Ventura's filing. When his 4th rape accuser, I'm sorry, I have to stop real quick. When his 4th rape accuser, Nigga.
Man.
When his fourth rape accuser sued in December, Combs 54 issued another passionate denial. Quote, enough is enough. For the last couple of weeks, I have sat silently and watched people try to assassinate my character, destroy my reputation and my legacy. Sickening allegations have been made against me by individuals looking for a quick payday. Let me be absolutely clear. I did not do any of the awful things being alleged. I will fight for my name, my family, and for the truth, end quote. For many, the lurid allegations against Combs were jarring, in part because he had risen to such great heights as a bankable bon vivant who threw the best parties from New York City to the Hamptons to Hollywood. He's the pop culture stalwart who walked under a parasol held by his campy valet Fonzworth Bentley in Saint-Tropez and turned up at the Met Gala in Swarovski.
Hey, you imagine what Fonzworth?
Negative. Crystal encrusted tuxedo and floor-length cape. He rapped about Bentleys and Benjamins and held court at his over-the-top annual white parties attended by Leonardo DiCaprio, Beyonce, Mariah Carey, and Martha Stewart. He called himself the Great Gatsby and considered circus showman P.T. Barnum his muse. Now, the spotlight Combs constantly chased is trained on his alleged crimes. In staggering scenes that underscored his fall from grace, heavily armed Homeland Security agents stormed his sprawling Los Angeles and Miami estates as part of a federal sex trafficking investigation on March 25th. Investigators tore through his offices and bedrooms, leaving cables dangling from a command center and multiple safes wide open. 3 gleaming Grammys and an Oscar sat atop a gutted console like relics of a crumbling regime. A crestfallen Combs was later seen alone, a cell phone hanging useless in his hand as he slowly paced around Miami Opa-locka Airport. His vacation in the Bahamas was canceled, his once fortified homes breached, his adult sons handcuffed, and his empire on the brink. So that clears up something that people were saying when this happened. He was not actually looking to flee the country, which I don't know how I feel about, right? Because on the one hand, accountability is accountability.
It is.
But on the other hand, the smart play would probably be to go find Russell.
Yes, or there's another thing in this too. That's a little darker. Did you think that you being who you are, the amount of resources that you have, and all of that fuckers you running for? I ain't going nowhere.
Sure,
I'm gonna get through this. You know,
absolutely possible. But again, that just shows how stupid.
Yeah, that's what I mean, bro. Like, it's a little darker.
Yeah. Okay. While the raids made global headlines, the silence from Combs' famous friends was palpable. This felt different than before, when he could use a checkbook, a high-powered attorney, and a media blitz to overcome scrapes with the law, when his charisma, influence, and connections would allow him to shake off allegations of violence or outcry from his disenfranchised artists. Quote, reparations is getting closer and closer. The big payback. That's a quote from Mace. Mace said that the day after the raids happened. Over the past 6 months, Rolling Stone conducted dozens of interviews with Combs' former friends, acquaintances, employees, and bad boy artists, as well as industry insiders. Out of 300 plus people contacted for this investigation, more than 50 were willing to speak about their experiences. Several would do so only off the record, citing a fear of retribution. Some requested compensation in exchange for their stories. Rolling Stone does not pay for interviews. Many declined to participate, wanting to distance themselves from Combs. Quote, I'm trying to leave that part of my life behind me, end quote. Those who did speak about Combs described a complicated man with opposing personas. Outwardly, they see a tastemaker who is unapologetically driven, generous, and jovial, even silly at times. He can be the same privately, but associates who got close enough to him discovered something darker behind the facade. A menacing figure who desperately wants to be accepted and admired, who uses public declarations of devotion, splashy donations, and boasts that he is, quote, brother love, to hide an undercurrent of alleged abuse and violence that, in one previously unreported allegation, traces back to before his career even started. Combs wielded his growing power to bend people to his will, sources claim, sending staffers to win back one-time girlfriend Jennifer Lopez, beating a label executive bloody after he became romantically involved with Combs' ex-partner Kim Porter, and allegedly trying to solicit sex from a woman on his payroll. As part of this investigation, Rolling Stone sent Combs a detailed list of questions about the new and pending allegations. He did not specifically address any of them. Quote, Mr. Confirms cannot comment on settled litigation, will not comment on pending litigation, and cannot address every allegation picked up by the press from any source, no matter how unreliable. We are aware that the proper authorities are conducting a thorough investigation and therefore have confidence any important issues will be addressed in the proper form where the rules distinguish facts from fiction. That's from his lawyer. Joy Dickerson-Neal, who was suing Combs for sexual assault, tells Rolling Stone that her decision to come forward isn't about money. It's about making sure the world sees that this man who rose to a level of an icon is actually sick and has left so many victims in the wake of his unpunished, disgusting behavior for years. Yeah. For Ventura, Combs presented as her flashy, established 37-year-old label boss when he pulled her into a bathroom and forcibly kissed her on her 21st birthday in 2007. Leaving her in tears, according to her complaint. She says he was holding the keys to her nascent music career when he pressured her to consume drugs and have sex that same year. Right. Combs quickly became deeply entrenched in every aspect of her life, paying for her apartment, having her medical records sent directly to him, and lashing out for perceived slights, the lawsuit says. When Ventura tried to move on and had a brief romantic relationship with musician Kid Cudi in 2011, Combs allegedly beat her. Combs later told Ventura he planned to blow up the rapper's car in his driveway, the lawsuit claims. In a statement to the New York Times in November, Cudi confirmed that his car exploded. He said, quote, "This is all true." In her suit, Ventura says he learned to, quote, In her suit, Ventura says she learned to blindly submit to Combs to avoid vicious beatings. Of course. Eventually, her lawsuit claims the abuse extended to sex trafficking, with Combs ordering her to slather herself in oil, get high and drunk, and have intercourse with male sex workers while Combs pleasured himself and filmed the interactions, which he dubbed freak-offs. She learned to disassociate during these horrific encounters, she says. The public got a disturbing window in the Combs treatment of Ventura in the surveillance video unearthed by CNN. In it, a towel-clad Combs is seen pursuing a barefoot and fleeting Ventura after he allegedly punched her in the face during a freak-off in a Los Angeles hotel in 2016. At an elevator bank, Combs throws Ventura to the floor, kicks her, stomps her, and attempts to drag her back in the room before grabbing what appears to be a vase off the table and hurling it in her direction. Ventura describes the incident in her lawsuit and alleges that Combs paid the hotel $50,000 to obtain the footage. Quote, "After years in silence and darkness, I'm finally ready to tell my story and to speak up on behalf of myself and for the benefit of other women who face violence and abuse in their relationships," Ventura said in a statement accompanying her lawsuit. "This was an opportunity to speak up about the trauma I have experienced and that I will be recovering from for the rest of my life." As Ventura's damning allegations were on the verge of going public, Combs was strategizing, according to Jones, who produced multiple songs on Combs' Grammy-nominated 2023 release, The Love Album, Off the Grid. He detailed how he planned to leverage his relationship with Bishop T.D. Jakes to soften the impact on his public image, Jones wrote in a sworn declaration in April. Jakes did not reply to a request for comment. Publicly, Combs seemingly jumped into overdrive, producing positive press. He fulfilled his $1 million promises to his alma mater, Howard University, and the football program at another historically black college, Jackson State University. He launched Empower Global, an e-commerce platform for black entrepreneurs, and in dropping his new album, claiming he was in his love era, he announced that he was giving bad boy artists and songwriters their publishing rights back. Only some artists say they were offered rights back, and Danity Kane's Aubrey Day said she refused because her offer came with a mandatory NDA. Point of order for that part. We've talked about the publishing thing again. The vast majority of that publishing is almost useless now, especially in comparison to what it would have been at the time the songs came out. Also, I feel it's very important, and I don't know why enough people don't do this. NDAs do not protect against illegal behavior. NDAs do not protect against illegal behavior. So many people think this, and that's the reason that NDAs are allowed to be abused, is because so many people that end up signing NDAs believe that NDAs protect illegal behavior. They do not. They do not. They do not. A year before her breakup with Combs, Ventura conceptualized a short film titled Cassie that appears telling in hindsight. In a voiceover speaking about the film's fictionalized romance, she says, quote, "How do you just walk away from it and escape it? I just want to be free," end quote. All right, so the rest of this article is broken up into several parts. Part 1, quote, "Puff is out here acting crazy. He's beating her," end quote. Hotel security footage prompted horrified reactions around the world. Forced to acknowledge his actions, Combs made a rare admission of guilt, but tailored it to that incident. Quote, "I was fucked up. I hit rock bottom, and I make no excuses. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted," end quote. He claimed he went to therapy and rehab and was truly sorry. Ventura's lawyers said that Combs' apology showed his pathetic desperation. Many who watched footage of the assault were stunned. Even those who'd known Combs for years. LaJoyce Brookshire, the former publicity director for Arista and Bad Boys, says she was disturbed to learn, quote, "that these types of actions could have occurred and that Puffy could stand in my face the next day with a straight face. That shakes me to my core," end quote. Several women who attended Howard with Combs, however, had seen signs of a controlling and abusive personality decades ago. Combs started at the esteemed college in the fall of 1987 and quickly earned a reputation for throwing legendary rowdy parties. Flamboyant and boisterous, he was often seen driving his convertible around campus and passing out flyers. Though he left after his sophomore year, Combs turned Howard into a pipeline for his enterprises, teaming up with future label execs and producers Harvey Pierre, Mark Pitts, and Derek D. Angeletti, all key figures in Bad Boys' early success. Shantae Page, a former A&R executive for Universal Motown Record Group, was among those who say they had positive experiences with Combs at Howard, calling his iconic parties a once-in-a-lifetime type of vibe. He was a go-getter from the start, she says, always in the know. But other women described previously unreported incidents involving unwanted touching and fits of rage. One woman says she kept as far away as possible after Combs caressed her back without warning and asked if she would be willing to meet one of his friends. Another former student recalled that Combs flew off the handle after she objected to him cutting a cafeteria line. While the moments may seem small, they show flashes of danger that would soon explode. A third former student recalls how the future mogul would tap on the window of an English class to get a girlfriend to ditch. The visits became noticeably unwelcome, the classmate tells Rolling Stone. She would tense up when Combs appeared. The student who sat next to the woman in class recalls, "He just had a weird control thing. I felt like she was fearful." The classmate who requested anonymity due to fear of retribution says her concerns were validated when Combs appeared outside the school's Harriet Tubman quadrangle? What is quadrangle? Is that a way of saying square or rectangle? Like,
right.
Because a triangle is 3 sides. Okay, whatever. Dorm and started screaming in a belligerent manner for his girlfriend to come outside. The classmate says other women soon began running through the halls, knocking on doors in a panic. They were sounding the alarm that Combs, known then by his nickname Puff, was attacking the young woman outside, she recalls. "Puff is out here acting crazy. He's beating her," the fellow student said, according to the classmate. "He screamed and hollered and acted a stone fool until she came downstairs." Another Howard student who witnessed the alleged attack tells Rolling Stone. She says Combs used what appeared to be a belt to strike the young woman all over the place. Speaking on the condition of anonymity due to the sensitive nature of the incident, the witness said Combs appeared super angry and was screaming at the top of his lungs. She says he whooped her butt, like really whooped her.
Oh my God, bro.
The witness says the woman was clearly terrorized. Quote, "She was trying to defend herself a little bit. She was crying and we were telling him, get off of her. We were screaming for her," end quote. A third source also recalled the alleged assault to Rolling Stone. The woman at the center of the alleged attack declined to comment. Combs was born with a short fuse, telling Jet Magazine he earned his nickname as a kid because he would always huff and puff when he got mad. Quote, "I had a temper. That's why my friends started calling me Puffy," end quote. He said his mom, Janice, a former kindergarten teacher, described him as a ham Combs barely knew his father, Melvin, a handsome drug dealer working for a Harlem kingpin. He was murdered in 1972 at the age of 33 when Combs was just a toddler. Throughout the years, Combs mourned the loss of a father figure, but Melvin had a profound influence on him nonetheless. Quote, even if we don't know our parents, we still have their DNA in us. We have their genes. I have his hustler's mentality, his hustler spirit, his drive, his determination, his swag. End quote.
Man.
And then specified four-sided shape, specified shape, square, rectangle, parallelogram, trapezoid, rhombus, maybe it's an oblique parallelogram. Okay. But I still feel like I'm confused as to how a building.
Is confusion.
I'm confused as to how a building could only have four sides and yet still be so unspecifiable.
That's good. I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds anyway, whatever.
Maybe it was created in bleed space.
Right. Like the fuck? When Janice moved the family from Harlem to the suburb,
kind of a joke is not a real word.
Okay. When Janice moved the family from Harlem to the suburb of Mount Vernon, 12 miles north, Combs straddled disparate worlds. In one, he was a defensive back on a football team at his all-boys Catholic high school. In the other, he rode a train.
What was that?
It doesn't say.
Oh, okay.
And the other, he rode a train to the city, immersing himself in its burgeoning hip-hop scene. Quote, I didn't know exactly what he would do, but he was blasting me out of the house with his mixing kit I bought him when he was 13, making that noise, scratching those records, Janice told Bob in 1993. After a taste of celebrity at Howard, Combs itched for more. He was hell-bent on breaking into the music industry, simultaneously attending college and working a part-time internship at Uptown Records back in New York City. It was Uptown artist Heavy D and a neighbor in Mount Vernon who brokered the job interview after Combs repeatedly badgered the rapper at their local pizza spot. Former Uptown A&R VP Kurt Woodley tells Rolling Stone. Combs commuted from Howard for the job, evading the train fare by hiding from the conductor in the bathroom. He dropped out of school to work at Uptown full-time, eventually becoming CEO Andre Harrell's mentee.
Yep.
Combs has said that Uptown is by now part of his lore. He helped newcomers Mary J. Blige and Jodeci go multi-platinum after reshaping their images. He reinvented the remix and ushered hip-hop soul into the cultural lexicon. He threw exclusive Daddy's House parties at the since shuttered Manhattan Hip Hop Club.
There's the problem, right?
I know, right? Daddy's House, nigga. At the since shuttered Manhattan Hip Hop Club Red Zone that even his older Uptown colleagues jockeyed to attend. He had the ability.
That description that you gave, I'm whipping that grown ass with the belt. This is one of the things that prevents me from falling for the bullshit that I see motherfuckers doing online in his defense, talking about you can imagine what he's going through. I don't give a
I could not care less
about that.
I could not possibly care less what he's going through.
But he put other people
in this situation. Right. Like what the fuck are we talking about? I hate people. I promise you, if I haven't seen any of that. That's all I'll say. Yeah. Quote, he had the ability to convince people that whatever he was doing or wherever he was, that was the hot shit. He understood more than anyone how the innovations of hip-hop, specifically sampling and using classic rap records as the basis for R&B songs, would be really powerful for a generation. As Combs' star was rising at Uptown, his predatory instincts resurfaced. According to the sexual assault lawsuit filed by Joy Dickinson-Neal last November, Dickinson-Neal acted opposite Combs in a 1990 music video and received what she considered a warning from Bronx rapper Sister Souljah to keep her distance, quote, given his infamous reputation. Sister Souljah did not reply to a request for comment. Dickinson-Neal says she reluctantly agreed to a dinner date with Combs in January 1991 while she was a college student paying for her studies with a restaurant job. Wary of being alone with him, she requested they dine where she worked. She alleges Combs spiked her drink when she used the restroom and later pressured her into taking a hit of a blunt. She says her legs went rubbery a short time later and that Combs raped her at a nearby residence. She also claims Combs filmed the attack and showed the video to others like a trophy. Through a rep, Through a rap, Combs denied the allegations at the time. This 32-year-old story is made up and not credible. Mr. Combs never assaulted her. Combs' lawyers have moved to dismiss portions of the lawsuit, calling the allegation false, offensive, and salacious. Mike Nice Lewis, who worked with Dickinson Neal at the short-lived PMD Records, tells Rolling Stone that she confided in him at the office about the alleged sexual assault in the early 1990s. Combs and Bad Boy came up in a conversation, and Lewis says Dickinson Neal's demeanor abruptly changed. Lewis claims Dickinson Neal told him that she had a very, very bad sexual experience with Combs, keeping her head down as she talked. I believed you, he says. I just knew from what she was telling me that it still affected her even 2 years later. As Michelle, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce that last name, attorney for Dickinson Neal and other accuser Crystal McKinney, the amount of irreparable harm to my clients' mental health and professional lives cannot be overstated, end quote. Within hours of Dickinson Neal filing her complaint, another woman sued Combs for rape. Lisa Gardner claimed she was 16 in 1990 when she and a friend met Combs and Uptown singer-songwriter Aaron Hall at an MCA Records event in Manhattan. Gardner alleges the men were very flirtatious and handsy, feeding the girls drinks and inviting them to Hall's residence for an after party. She alleged Combs offered her more alcohol at Hall's home in New Jersey and forced her into sex despite her protests. While she was still, quote, shocked and traumatized, trying to get dressed, Hall allegedly barged into the room, pinned her down, and raped her too. Gardner claims an irate Combs later showed up where she was staying and began choking her until she almost passed out. Combs feared the woman would tell his girlfriend what he and Hall had done, the lawsuit claims. Combs' legal team denied Gardner's allegations, calling them a money grab. But another woman who says she was with Gardner the night of the alleged attack corroborated many details of Gardner's lawsuit in a sworn affidavit filed in mid-May. The woman, who was the younger sister of the friend mentioned in Gardner's complaint, said she has a photo of herself with Gardner and Hall from the evening in question. She recalled frantically looking around Hall's apartment for her sister and Gardner after they disappeared with Combs and Hall. The then 15-year-old says she walked into a room and saw a man watching whatever Puffy was doing to Lisa. The woman wrote that she awoke the next morning at a different location where an upset Gardner said Combs had just shown up there and choked her. Mm-hmm. Aaron Hall did not respond to a request for comment. Of course he didn't.
Of course not.
Back in the Uptown office, Combs' inflated ego, outsized opinions, and Machiavellian scheming were becoming a problem for his peers. He went from internally divisive to openly controversial in December 1991, when he and Heavy D helped organize a celebrity charity basketball game at City College of New York that left 9 people dead, aged 15 to 28, and dozens injured in a stampede. Combs shirked responsibility, claiming he had tried to enlist help from the NYPD and that he had personally administered CPR to several people, but an incident report ordered by the then mayor, David Dinkins, faulted him for allowing inexperienced underlings to handle the event planning and found that reckless overpromotion had drawn too many people without tickets to the event. Within the city investigating possible criminal charges, lawsuits mounting, and rivals pushing Harrell to cut Combs loose, the Uptown exec urged Combs to lay low. A terrified Combs spent months holed up in a Manhattan hotel with his mother, according to Kim Burrows, Bad Boy's co-founding partner and president. Burrows was fired from Bad Boy in 1997. In 2003, she sued Combs for allegedly threatening. Oh, wait, this a guy? Okay, my bad. Burrows was fired from Bad Boy in 1997. In 2003, he sued Combs for allegedly threatening him with a baseball bat and coercing him into signing over his stake in the company. His claims were dismissed as beyond the statute of limitations. After the controversy subsided and Combs returned to Uptown, he still considered himself Harrell's heir apparent, but his access to his mentor was restricted. He spent much of 1992 producing Big Blage's landmark debut, What's the 411, or according to Spotify DJ, What's the 411, gaining redemption in the album's acclaim. Around this time, he founded his own Uptown imprint, Bad Boy Entertainment, where he could sign his own artists and make extra cash. Burrows remembers jealous Uptown execs referring to Combs as Satan and flipping him off as they walked by his small offices in the Uptown building. Yo!
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Harrell soured on him too. As Woodley recalls, Harrell said, "I'm going to fire Puff. He's getting a little too big for himself. He's bothering people."
Yeah.
With pressure mounting, Harrell fired Combs in 1993. Uptown was supposed to oversee the album release of Combs' new assignee, Christopher Wallace, aka Notorious B.I.G., but Combs was free to find a new home for his fledgling label. The termination was devastating for Combs, Burroughs says, leaving the 23-year-old crying buckets of tears outside the office. He loved Andre. He loved Uptown. He didn't understand what Bad Boy was going to be. I cried. And now Puff says, I cried for a couple of days and felt like I wanted to jump off a building. I think at times I was hard to work with. Possibly I was doing shit that an asshole would do. Possibly I was doing shit that an asshole would do, just abusing the power, but that was only a little bit of the time.
Oh, I don't believe that.
Bruh.
That. You can't get me to believe that.
Part 2, the making of a mogul. Cast out of Uptown and blamed for a tragedy that claimed 9 lives, Combs could have faded into obscurity, but he was scrappy and determined, quickly securing a reported $10 million deal from Arista Records' Clive Davis that kept Bad Boy Entertainment alive. Now he was helming a skeleton crew, eager to turn artists into superstars and cement hip-hop as a mainstream genre. While the world did not understand the power of hip-hop, I was working in it and watching it unfold, says Michelle Joyce, Bad Boy's first director of marketing. I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that it wasn't if it was going to pop, but when.
Right.
It wasn't easy. Hours were brutal, pay was low, and the workload intense. The next summer, only 1 year after Combs' dismissal from Uptown, their work paid off with Craig Mack's ubiquitous Flavor in Your Ear and Notorious B.I.G.'s One More Chance. In the next 3 years, Bad Boy would become the premier label for upcoming hip-hop and R&B artists, turning out chart-topping albums from Faith Evans, Total, and 112, the soundtracking clubs and radio stations nationwide. And in Wallace, Bad Boy had a budding superstar. Biggie Smalls, the storytelling genius with the effortless flow. Still, Combs was volatile. Burroughs said he once saw Combs attack a woman inside Bad Boy's office in 1994. He and another ex-employee telling Rolling Stone they had to tear Combs off of the woman after hearing screams and the sound of shattering glass. The woman declined Rolling Stone's request for comment. Felicia Newsom, the first manager of Bad Boy's recording studio, Daddy's House, said, "Come on, bruh."
That is so unfortunate. That is unfortunate. Like, seriously, bro, that is so unfortunate. Why are you calling that shit that, man?
So she once held Combs back when he was about to beat this girl's ass after a fight broke out between two women. I'm holding him by his waist saying, "You need to calm down. This is not your fight," Newsom recalls. Former Arista intern April Lampros claims Combs turned violent with her too. In a lawsuit filed in May, Lampros alleged Combs attacked her in a parking garage in the mid-90s, forcing her to her knees to perform oral sex. It was one of 4 horrific sexual assaults she says she endured during her on and off relationship with Combs.
Listen.
As Bad Boy was on the rise, staffers kept Combs' transgressions quiet. Whether out of loyalty, fear, or a belief that such incidents were rare, outwardly he was the label's unceasing hype man, ad-libbing on tracks and making cameos in his artist videos. It was clear he wanted something bigger for himself. Quote, "I distinctly remember the day that Clive Davis called and asked me to start garnering press for Puffy, just as if he were the artist. Behind his back, I used to call him my problem child, the notorious VIP." Combs got all of the press he wanted when he and his LA counterpart, Death Row Records boss Marion Suge Knight, became entangled in a years-long heavyweight hip-hop fight. The pair had once been friendly. Combs even modeled Bad Boy after Death Row, he told Rolling Stone in 1997, but the subsequent rivalry between Biggie and Knight's charismatic superstar Tupac Shakur would turn into a Pyrrhic victory for both labels. Combs was fond of Shakur, admiring his ability to marry street credibility with mainstream appeal. Burroughs notes that the Bad Boy team spent the summer of 1993 studying the rapper's buoyant hit "I Get Around" as a blueprint for a commercial hip-hop record. Desperate to be taken seriously, Combs tried to foster a friendship, but Shakur wasn't interested. Pac didn't have any kind of respect for Puff, says 90s hip-hop photographer Malik Bunn, who was close with Wallace and other Bad Boy artists. To Shakur and even Wallace, Bunn says Combs was a corny executive. Instead, Shakur bonded with Wallace, whom he viewed as his peer. Burroughs remembers. As a result, he says, referring to Combs, there was someone on the sidelines jealous. The friendship would be short-lived. After Shakur was ambushed and shot 5 times in the lobby of Quad Studios in Times Square in 1994, he blamed Combs and the Bad Boy crew for setting him up, which Combs has always denied. From there, everything got blown out of proportion, Bunn says. Bad Boy execs started encouraging Wallace to write certain songs. Burroughs says, despite the rapper not feeling so beefy with his former friend, with tensions frothing, Combs released Wallace's single Who Shot Ya in 1995. It was widely viewed as a sneering provocation aimed at Shakur, though Wallace was adamant that it wasn't.
Yeah.
Shakur, because it probably was a song that was already written.
Yeah.
And Puffy
picked the release.
Then, right.
The release that made the connect. You know what I'm saying? It's the release.
Yeah.
When it was released. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right. Yeah. Shakur responded with the ferocious hit 'em up, pushing hostilities to their peak. After seeing a promotional play, Combs stoked the East Coast-West Coast rivalry. The two label heads traded jabs, with Knights cast as the intimidating cigar-chomping gang-affiliated boss, and Combs the slick, clean-cut executive. When the 25-year-old Shakur was murdered in September 1996 in a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas, Knight immediately pointed the finger at Combs, who denied involvement. Some Bad Boy employees received personal death threats soon after. Quote, I don't recall reading in the employee manual that dodging bullets was a part of my job description, Brookshire says. Last September, Compton Crips gang member Dwayne Keefe D. Davis was charged with Shakur's murder. His trial is set to begin in November. Davis has claimed Combs offered him $1 million for a hit on Shakur. Combs has vehemently denied the claim. 6 months after Shakur's death in 1997, Wallace, 24, was attending a Soul Train Music Awards after party in Las Vegas when the gunman opened fire on his GMC Suburban, killing him. Police considered the homicide an unsolved act of retaliation. Multiple reports allege Wallace had been preparing to leave Bad Boy shortly before his death. It didn't help that Combs had been fighting with Wallace's attorneys, who were trying to wrest back the rapper's publishing rights. Quote, I will never get it up until I'm dead and my bones are crushed into powder. Puff told the lawyers.
Jeez.
That photographer Bunn says Biggie was absolutely about to leave Puff. I know for a fact because he told me that. Another source says everybody wanted to leave Puffy. Everybody leaves him. Combs capitalized on the shock and sorrow over Wallace's death. Brookshire, who had been traveling in the same SUV as Wallace during press events the day before he died, says Combs denied her request for time off to process her grief. Instead, just 2 weeks after the slaying, she says Combs ordered her to focus all efforts on Wallace's upcoming album, Life After Death. Combs demanded it be number one, top 10, top 10, top 10, she recalls. It sold nearly 700,000 copies in its first week. When Rolling Stone approached Bad Boy about a cover opportunity a few months after Biggie's murder, Burroughs claims he advocated for the late rapper to take the spot. Quote, I was telling Sean, let's make it Biggie. You still have the chance for a cover in the future. He's like, no, he's dead. I'm putting out my debut in July. I need to be on the cover of Rolling Stone. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Nigga, what?
Yeah, like
no, he's dead? What? Anyway, Combs got his cover. And 2 years later, he acknowledged how Biggie's death had been big business. Quote, I think his passing added to the fame. Combs told Rolling Stones in 99. At least 2 million of the nearly 5 million copies of No Way Out sold were due to his death, straight up. And it doesn't necessarily feel good, but that's the reality. Okay. Yes. Yikes. Even Death Row's fearsome boss, who's currently serving a 28-year manslaughter sentence and has been labeled a boogeyman of hip-hop, said Combs' behavior was distasteful. Quote, when Pop left, I didn't pick up a microphone, Knight said on his present podcast. I picked up the pieces. Part 3. People did whatever he said to stay in his good graces. In the late 1990s, fans regularly gathered outside the Daddy's House studio in Midtown Manhattan, angling to see a famous face or pass along a mixtape. Quote, we had built this machine, the hottest hip-hop label in the world, and people started to jockey to get next to Puffy. As the new millennium dawned, hip-hop entered its bling era, with Combs and his artists mounting the melodies of 1980s pop songs to guarantee commercial hits. wore matching shiny suits, spit raps about designer socks and yachts, draped themselves in diamonds, and filled their big budget videos with fawning women and bombastic pyrotechnics. The label is thriving off Biggie's legacy and bolstered by rising stars Mace, Shine, and Black Rob. Combs won Grammys and was nominated for his work with outside artists Mariah Carey and R. Kelly. He entered the upper echelons of New York society, partying with Revlon billionaire Ron Perlman and Donald Trump. Huh.
Yeah. Wow.
There was a certain narcissism and attitude of objectifying not just women, but all people, and wanting to be with other men who enjoyed moving people around like chess pieces.
There's a certain amount of megalomania, and it's something that's common in people that are in spaces that he's in. You see it all, and like you said, the idea of liking to be around people who do that.
Yes.
Very important when you hear certain political figures run around talking about how much they like Putin or Kim Jong-un or shit like that. Very, very important context.
Right. Becoming a dominant force in the industry only seemed to amplify Combs' bullying behavior. In April 1999, he barged into the office of Interscope Records executive Steve Stout and allegedly turned violent.
Yes.
Combs was furious that Stout didn't cut him from a crucifixion scene in a Nas video before sending it to MTV. Quote, he punched me in the face and then he grabbed the phone and bashed me in the head with it. Stout recounted to the LA Times. Combs privately settled with Stout, reportedly for $500,000, and dodged a 7-year prison sentence by pleading to a reduced charge of harassment. That summer, Combs released his second album, Forever. The album's critical and commercial failure. It sold less than half what its predecessor did, partly diminished Combs' star power.
Oh, wait a minute. So just think about that for a minute. Now, he did this to Stout.
Yeah.
And these incidents are widely known.
Yeah.
Out the industry.
Nigga.
If you want to know why there was people that didn't report on it in journalism, this is why. Stout has money. Y'all don't realize Stout has money.
Facts.
And it happened to him.
It happened to him.
Laugh. Puff, right?
Facts.
So what is some journalists probably, if they're lucky, making $40,000 a year?
Right.
Like,
what the fuck they gonna do?
Yeah.
A few months later in December, Combs was arrested after a nightclub shooting in which 3 people were injured. His newest star, Shine, aka Jamal Michael Barrow, was convicted of firing shots and sentenced to 10 years. Barrow was deported to Belize upon his 2009 release. Combs, meanwhile, was charged with weapons possession and attempted robbery after he and then-girlfriend Jennifer Lopez fled the shooting in a Lincoln Navigator and reportedly ran 11 red lights. Combs was facing up to 15 years in prison if convicted. Kevin Rogers Francis, a host at Combs' restaurant Justin's, who did marketing work for Combs' short-lived magazine Notorious, recalls the mogul scrambling for money, shuttering the magazine, and hitting the restaurant's drawers for cash in what Francis presumed was an effort to cover hefty legal bills. The prosecutor claimed Combs offered cash to witnesses after some said Combs was the shooter. Victim Natanya Rubin has been adamant that Combs fired the bullet that tore through her nose. Combs' own driver testified that Combs offered him $50,000 using a $40,000 pinky ring as collateral if he would say he owned the unsolicited gun family SUV. Others have claimed Combs paid as much as $1 million to Barrow through an intermediary to buy his silence. Barrow denies the claim to Rolling Stone, calling it ridiculous misinformation. After a 6-week trial, Combs was acquitted in March 2001. I will say, as far as Shine is concerned, I would not have taken that charge.
I wouldn't have taken it
for Puffy.
Facts.
No. There's no way. With his mounting scandals, a tabloid relationship with Jennifer Lopez, and the popularity of his Sean John clothing line, which launched in '98, Combs entered the pop culture stratosphere. It became a point of pride to work for Bad Boy, says former employee Flash Rodriguez. It wasn't just a company, it was a lifestyle. But Combs was difficult to work for. No shit. That's an understatement. Employees who wanted to stick around had to learn how to speak Puffy Brookshire and multiple sources say a demanding boss, Combs often yelled to get his point across and fired employees on a whim. Quote, no one on his team at Bad Boy spoke back to him. No one challenged him. Another source recalls Mace, whose real name is Mason Betha, calling Combs massive behind his back. Betha did not reply to a request for comment. He was so volatile, says a source who sometimes worked with Bad Boy. He's always on the edge of snapping and being scary. People did whatever he said to stay in his good graces, and Puffy exploited people's desires to be in those environments. Part 4. Why is nobody saying anything? Are they scared of him? After Combs' acquittal in the nightclub shooting in 2001, he reportedly headed straight to church, of course. He later made a less God-fearing visit to the Peninsula Hotel, where he was throwing a massive bash to celebrate the verdict. It was there that Anna, a freelance graphic designer working for Bad Boy's marketing team, says Combs approached her and began to massage her shoulders. The woman requested a pseudonym, citing fear of retribution. Quote, I'm getting touched on my shoulder, my arms, my back. He's like, oh yeah, you like that? I know you like that. Like, really gross. She recalls sharing her story publicly for the first time. I was like, no, not so much. And I sort of floated my way out of there. Anna says she avoided Combs the rest of the night. Weeks later, her boss's girlfriend confided that Combs allegedly approached the boss the night of the party to, quote, solicit me for sex. A friend confirmed to Rolling Stone that Anna told her about both the encounter and the proposed arrangement when they began working together a few years later. The boss did not return Rolling Stone's request for an interview, and the girlfriend declined to speak, of course. I felt quite unsettled about this for many years. When people ask me about my days at Bad Boy, it's just overshadowed by his crap, Anna says, adding that Combs treated her as though she existed to accommodate his whims. Combs often flaunted his sexual encounters, even if underage artists were around to see. A teenage usher briefly lived at Combs' New York house in the early 90s as a young Bad Boy protege. Quote, Puff introduced me to a totally different set of shit, sex specifically, Usher recalled to Rolling Stone in 2004. There was always girls around. You'd open the door and see somebody doing it, or several people in the room having an orgy. You never knew what was going to happen, end quote. Casey Sheridan, a member of the teenage girl band Dream, recalls the group being summoned for a meeting with Combs to a Beverly Hills hotel bungalow when she was 15, and awkwardly eyeing a purse and a pair of high heels by the front door as the group waited. After 20 minutes, a bathrobed Combs emerged from a nearby room. Quote, it's like you can't even keep our innocence. I'm 15, walking into this situation, knowing exactly what he was doing next door, Sheridan says. Feeding off his fame and power, Combs appeared to be pushing his most sickening impulses even further. Model Crystal McKinney was photographed during a star-studded Sean Jones fashion show in February 2003. Hours later, according to her recent lawsuit, Combs said she was acting too uptight and pressured her to take a hit from a laced joint. She alleges he then forced her to perform oral sex on him despite her resistance. The night sent McKinney into a tailspin of anxiety and depression that she says resulted in a suicide attempt. Quote, I had a whole future in modeling mapped out that was stolen from me. Being sexually assaulted and having no recourse is so painful. I felt like I was dying every day because I did not yet have the strength to come forward. I hope that by speaking out, I can help other survivors come forward to seek justice, end quote. Not long after, between the spring and fall of 2003, a 17-year-old girl was out one night with friends at a Detroit area lounge when a man in a suit approached and allegedly introduced himself as Combs' quote, best friend. The man purportedly called Combs and let the girl speak directly with the famed producer, who was twice her age. The man, alleged to be former Bad Boy president Harvey Pierre, convinced the girl to board a private jet and take a 2-hour flight to Teterboro, New Jersey, just outside of New York City, to meet Combs in person. According to a lawsuit filed last December by the girl, now an adult, Jane Doe plaintiff. Then a high school junior, she was awestruck by the opportunity, documenting the trip with photos from inside Daddy's house, where she's seen pretending to record a song, pointing at Combs' initials on the wall and sitting on Combs' lap. The photos were included in the lawsuit to corroborate the woman's allegations, and she was gang raped that night by Pierre Combs and the third unidentified man inside the recording studio. The woman claims the men plied her with drugs and alcohol until she was nearly unconscious and unable to consent. As she started to black out, she claims, Combs led her to a bathroom where he removed her skirt and underwear and penetrated her from behind. As she drifted in and out, the unnamed assailant replaced Combs and raped her from behind as Combs watched, she said. The woman alleges Pierre replaced the second man and raped her too. When the men finished, she fell into a fetal position on the floor in excruciating pain and was later escorted out of the building and flown back to Michigan, she claims. Combs' lawyer filed a motion to dismiss, calling Doe's account a decades-old tale, a baseless claim, and an effort to extract an undeserved financial recovery. Pierre did not reply to a request for comment, but previously called the accusation fiction and a desperate attempt for financial gain.
Listen, bro.
It's a lot of reading.
Listen, bro. When you go through these accusations, retellings, testimonials, one thing is very, very clear. The only people who can seek justifications for Herr Diddy's actions, these are the type of people that you need to question.
Yeah.
What they're doing or what they could potentially be up to. Because trying to find a way to minimize the amount of harm this nigga has done to scores of people, it takes a certain type of mindset to, instead of acknowledging what he's done, to then seek to find excuses for why he does, like, for their brain to turn that corner and completely put a wall up to his atrocities, only to talk about he was going to buy this, he was going to do that. That's weird.
Then he was about to buy Netflix.
He was about. That's weird, bro. And you know, and this is what's scary. And this is why the women chose the bear, just in case you motherfuckers are confused. You go into comment sections on this topic, and you see the scores of men, making excuses for Puff, thinking they're covering these excuses by saying, "I don't agree with what he did." Yo, this ain't an agree or disagree.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
That's the bare minimum.
He did, as if that was some. I don't. He likes strawberry. I like chocolate. But listen,
right?
What are you even talking about? The fact that you can try to box what he did into something of preference, right?
Right.
And then talk about, oh, why they only coming at him about it now? It's because he's about to do this. He's about to do that. You sound weird. You are weirdos.
Facts.
And I'm starting to look at y'all. Let me stop capping.
I'm about to say not starting.
I ain't starting.
Right.
Look at y'all crazy. I've been looking at y'all crazy for a minute to see that. This is why you saw women a couple of weeks ago choosing the bear, because it's motherfuckers like you that she could potentially be coming across in the woods.
Yeah. Thanks.
I would run too.
Yeah. Drugs were a consistent part of Combs' life, Ventura alleges in her lawsuit, claiming he was addicted to prescription painkillers and took ecstasy frequently. She claims he had pills and other drugs out in the open, like candy, and that he would supply alcohol, ecstasy, cocaine, the sedative GHB, ketamine, and marijuana during freakos. But far from enhancing a party vibe, Ventura and others say the substance only darkened his mood. Once Combs got drunk or high enough, she says one frequent party guest in the 2000s. I'm sorry. What do you mean frequent?
Right.
Anyway, he would turn violent and loud. He would take his anger out on people. At several points when Combs was extremely intoxicated, Ventura alleges he beat her. An industry source says they once left a party at Combs' home because they felt so uncomfortable watching an aggressive Combs yell at Ventura throughout the night. You could tell in her eyes that she's scared, they said. I'm like, is this normal? Am I tripping right now? Why is nobody saying anything?
Right.
Are they that scared of him?
Right.
In the 2015 appearance on The Breakfast Club, Combs described the, quote, deal that he offers his girlfriends. Quote, if I'm in a relationship, he said this shit on a nationally syndicated show. I want to be clear about that. The Breakfast Club, Charlamagne the God and them, yeah, that show.
Yeah.
Quote, if I'm in a relationship with you, 25% of your time, you're going to just feel like, oh man, I hate being here. This guy cheated on me. He lied on me. He's saying this while sitting next to his then teenage son.
Right.
But then there's 75% of I'm gonna make you the happiest woman in the whole wide world. I'm gonna be there to support your dreams. I'm gonna be there to hold you, listen to you. I'm gonna be there to be your best friend, and I promise you'll smile the most. You know who I am. This is what it is. End quote. There was one term of the deal Combs never disclosed. Sources say the women who signed up for it were not allowed to walk away. Damien Vasquez, a former Bad Boy intern, says after Combs and Lopez broke up, Combs had staffers camp outside MTV's TRL studios with signs to win her back. Ventura claimed that every time she hid, Combs's network of operatives found her and employed her to return, including a Bad Boy executive who threatened to withhold the release of her music if she didn't return Combs' calls. After Ventura left Combs, he tried to paint a picture of a heartbroken, hurt man. A source who knew the couple throughout their relationship says, when the reality was he's a liar and an abuser. Burroughs believes Combs' losses at a young age, especially the murder of his father, took a toll on his relationships. Quote, he is fortified now with the money and the power, but abandonment and the act of leaving can bring about vicious results, and the women catch it the worst. End quote. Combs' long-term partner, Kim Porter, who died of lobar pneumonia in 2018, was no exception. Their relationship was tumultuous, according to two sources who claim Combs physically abused her. Quote, I remember Kim used to go through a lot of stuff. Former Bad Boy rapper Mark Curry said, if you live around them, you get to see the toxic relationship. I think every relationship he had that I experienced around him was like that. Combs and Porter first got together in 1994 and dated on and off until 2007. She ended it for good upon hearing Combs had fathered a secret child while she was pregnant with their twin daughters. There were other infidelities, including Combs' affair with Jennifer Lopez, but Combs never let Porter truly move on, she told Essence. He still called 50 to 60 times a day, she said. Jeez. It was like my life was not my own. He was very, very intrusive. In 2000, Porter's fledgling courtship with late music executive Shakira Stewart enraged Combs. When the industry gathered for L.A. Reid's wedding in Italy that summer, Combs went to Stewart's room after the ceremony and allegedly broke a chair over his head. Stewart's mother and two of his close friends tell Rolling Stone, quote, he left him bleeding on a hotel floor in Italy. He had to have stitches, and then Combs threatened him, I'm going to kill you. That's when I said, you need to get out of this business. This man's crazy, end quote. Yeah. Part 5. I've noticed him kill a lot of people's spirits. By the mid-2000s, Bad Boy had hemorrhaged several top acts, including Faith Evans, Total, 112, Craig Mack, and Foxy Brown. 2 decades later, nearly all of Combs' artists have left him, apart from himself, stepson Quincy Brown, and son Christian. Only Janelle Monáe is left on the label. A rep from Monet did not reply for a request for comment. Machine Gun Kelly's last track released with Bad Boy was in February 2024. He started his own label, EST19XX, under Interscope. Rolling Stone reached out to dozens of artists who had been signed to Bad Boy to ask about their experiences with the label. Many declined, with one saying, I don't have anything nice to say when it comes to my time with Bad Boy. It was not a good experience and one I really don't want to relive. Those who did speak to Rolling Stone say they felt their time with the label was squandered through lack of direction. Several spent years at Bad Boy without releasing any music. Curry, who was affiliated with Bad Boy from 1997 to 2006, has been one of the most outspoken detractors, writing about his feelings with Combs in his 2009 book, Dancing with the Devil, How Puff Burnt the Bad Boys of Hip Hop. He says Combs repeatedly promised to produce a solo album, but never gave him a budget. There's different ways you can kill a person, Curry says. I've noticed him kill a lot of people's spirits. Not everyone felt the same. Singer-songwriter Kalena Harper says one of the highs of her life was joining Combs' Dirty Money group in 2009. She was later invited to work with Combs on the Love album. He was fucking cool as shit, she says, adding that artists who blame Combs for the trajectory of their careers may suffer from disgruntled employer syndrome.
Oh, that is a crazy, crazy bar right there.
I mean,
crazy bar. Like when you put that in context to the other shit, this nigga,
right?
Like, that's a crazy bar.
Like, what are we talking about? Years ago, there were whispers that some bad boy A&R executives would expect sexual favors from female artists in exchange for professional attention. I would hear about female artists being asked to do stuff with some of the other male executives, recalls one former bad boy staffer. Like, we can make or break your career. What are you going to do about it? Going to HR was useless. If you want your job, you're not going in there to complain. On the Call Her Daddy podcast in 2022,
you gotta stop it.
No, that's not him.
I understand.
Danity Kane's Aubrey O'Day says she was kicked out of the group because she wasn't willing to do certain things, not talent-wise, but in other areas. She refused to get specific, saying the truth was what you can imagine. There was no Me Too, she added. You signed 1 million NDAs, and again, I want to take a break. Please don't do this. I need to say again. I need NDAs do not protect people from illegal activity.
Thank you.
They do not. And people don't say this shit enough. And that is the reason why we have so many situations where people aren't saying shit because they signed a NDA. NDAs do not protect people from illegal activity. God damn it. You signed 1 million NDAs and 1 million contracts that took away your rights. Asked by Rolling Stone to elaborate, she says, the answer to what happens if you don't do what the executive wants, I'm the full-blown fucking story of that. Some who left Combs worried he might be trying to expel them from the industry altogether. Brooklyn rapper Lanice Babs Bunny Wiley of Combs' MTV reality show Making the Band says she was blackballed after leaving the label. Bunn, the photographer, claims her gigs instantly dried up after winning a lawsuit against Combs in 2000 for withholding a set of Biggie photos from her. She claims a friend at the Fader magazine told her that Combs personally called the office and said if they worked with Bunn, Bad Boy would pull his advertising from the magazine.
Wow.
Talk show host Wendy Williams wrote in her 2004 book that Combs spent a lot of money and used a lot of his influence to try and crush me after she posted an alleged sexual photo of Combs and another man on the website. Combs denied it was him in the photo. The music producer Easy Mo B claimed in February that after he challenged Combs over a credit Combs had given himself on the producer's song, he noticed, quote, certain people wouldn't deal with me. He's someone you don't want to make an enemy out of, says one former employee of Combs. When people do go against him, that person gets ostracized. For some, the effects of being shunned by Combs were profound. Francesca Sparrow joined Bad Boy Entertainment in 1998, rising through the company to become Combs' right-hand woman. But Sparrow alleged in an age and disability discrimination lawsuit that Combs illegally fired her in 2010. She claimed Combs froze her out after she took time to recover from a hip surgery and voluntarily checked into rehab to treat a lapse in her sobriety. Sparrow tried to continue working in the music industry, but opportunities would disappear, a family member says. The alleged blacklisting led to significant health issues, which brought her to her end, the relative says. She was devastated by the way she was treated. She felt betrayed. She died in 2014. As ex-Bad Boy President Burroughs puts it, Combs never forgets a grudge. If he sees a snag in a sweater, he'll pull. Part 6. Life ain't always what it seemed to be. For Combs' 50th birthday in 2019, revelers gathered at his 17,000 square foot homie Hills home in black tie attire and beaded gowns, sipping champagne and ice-cold Ciroc. The vodka brand Combs shilled for a share of profits. They admired the breathtaking Kerry James Marshall painting that Combs had recently purchased for $21 million. Guests Beyonce and Jay-Z rubbed shoulders with Dr. Dre, Leonardo DiCaprio, Kobe Bryant, Cardi B, Snoop Dogg, Kim Kardashian, Usher, and Post Malone. Each of those people have, let's say, potentially shady activity.
Yes.
Well, I don't know about Beyonce or Cardi B, but the rest of the motherfuckers.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It was a crowning moment for Combs, a testament to the multifaceted success he had worked so hard to achieve. Combs had conquered fashion, winning Menswear Designer of the Year at the prestigious Council of Fashion Designers of America Awards 2004, acted on Broadway, became the co-owner of De Leon Tequila, founded the Revolt TV cable network, purchased the sports beverage company Aqua Hydrate with Mark Wahlberg, and filmed a cameo in Disney's 2014 movie Muppets Most Wanted. He even legally changed his middle name to Love. With his hard edges seemingly polished away by his gilded life, Combs appeared untouchable. It was all the perfect cover for his alleged physical and sexual abuse of Ventura. Ventura says in her lawsuit that there were multiple witnesses to her alleged mistreatment, but they were too afraid to cross Combs. She claims both Combs' heads of security and his assistant began to cry when they saw the extent of her injuries. In an open letter published by Rolling Stone, Ventura's friend Tiffany Red wrote that she was present the night Ventura says she was forced to leave her 2015 surprise birthday party for another freak off with Combs. Red recalled seeing Ventura backed up against the wall with Combs cursing her out. Excuse me. She said Ventura returned later that night, apparently sedated, while Combs screamed at Red, "Tell your girl she wants some birthday dick." Wow.
Yo.
I flew all the way from Miami. She gonna get this birthday dick.
Oh my God.
Red wrote that she told a visibly angry Combs to leave Ventura alone. She recalled Combs ignoring her and driving off with Ventura in a golf cart. Combs' physical abuse extended to Ventura's inner circle as well. According to a lawsuit, she claims one of her friends obtained a settlement after a physical altercation with Combs in 2018. At Ventura's birthday party in 2015, a severely intoxicated Combs allegedly dangled another of Ventura's friends over a 17th floor balcony. Neither friend responded to a request for comment from Rolling Stone. One source who worked with Combs and Ventura says people failed to speak up because Combs doesn't believe in being told no. And if you get caught up in the wrath of that, it can be very dangerous. I seem to recall it's some famous person, the person who was hung over the balcony. I just don't remember who it was.
Damn, he was kind of corny. People gave him a lot of passes for that shit though.
Was it
no, I'm thinking of Vanilla Ice and
no, nigga. But it was somebody else that is sometimes I can't remember if he was a single or rapper, one of the two, but apparently he was the one that got hung over a balcony. In her lawsuit, Ventura says she finally found the strength to leave for good when Combs allegedly forced his way into her apartment and raped her in September 2018, the night she met him for dinner to discuss breaking up. She claims Combs pulled off her clothing and assaulted her as she repeatedly said no and tried to push him away. A month later, people reported the relationship was over, citing a source who said Ventura was moving on with renewed focus on her career. Though Ventura's alleged hell at the hands of Combs was largely unknown until she filed her complaint, overlapping public claims about Combs' behavior made minor headlines during their decade together. In 2017, Combs was sued for sexual harassment by personal chef Cindy Rueda in a lawsuit that seemed bizarre at the time, but has gained renewed scrutiny. Rueda claimed that when she worked for Combs in 2015 and part of 2016, he regularly had her serve dishes while he and his guests were engaged in sexual activity. Rueda claimed Combs once asked her to prepare a post-coital meal, then greeted her fully naked and asked if she liked his naked body. One incident in August 2015 allegedly involved Combs ordering Rueda to serve him breakfast in his room and then partaking in sexual activity with model Gina, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, as Rueda dropped the food on the table and fled. The lawsuit was forced into arbitration and ended privately. A lawyer for Rueda did not reply to requests for comment. That model, however, reemerged in 2019 with claims that Combs beat her. In an interview with gossip blogger Tasha K, she said she started dating Combs in 2014 and that he offered her $50,000 to terminate a pregnancy that year. She also said Combs shoved her to the ground and dragged her by her hair in 2018 in a jealous rage, once stomped on her stomach. The allegations barely made a ripple, and she went silent after the interview. She declined to comment for this article. The Detroit area Jane Doe, who sued Combs and Pierre in December, tells Rolling Stone she hopes her lawsuit will hold not just Combs, but all of those who acted with him, stood silent, and actively covered up his behavior accountable. In her lawsuit, she said her nightmare was not an isolated incident and pointed to another Jane Doe who sued Pierre on November 21st. That woman alleges Pierre groomed and sexually assaulted her when she was his assistant between 2016 and 2017. Then in early February, Jones, the Love album producer, sued the 73-page complaint, followed by lawyer Tyrone Blackburn, which included unusual elements such as photos of the defendants and redacted names that could easily be deciphered. claimed that Jones worked, traveled, and often lived with Combs while producing 9 songs for the project. Jones described his experience as a hedonistic hellscape. He claimed to have hundreds of hours of footage and audio capturing Combs and his staff and his guests engaged in serious illegal activity, including the use and distribution of ecstasy, cocaine, ketamine, marijuana candy, mushrooms, GHB, and pink powder described as a mixture of ecstasy and cocaine. He claimed that at one party in July 2023, Combs fed him ecstasy-laced liquor until he blacked out and woke up naked next to a sex worker. Jones said Combs terrorized him with constant unsolicited and unauthorized groping and touching of his anus.
Oh my!
And that Combs kept him compliant by displaying weapons, threatening to eat his face, and according to the suit, informing Jones that he was willing to kill his own mother if he must to get what he wanted. Combs' lawyer called the complaint pure fiction. Combs' associates, meanwhile, have
hold up. Never mind then. The fuck out of here.
Combs' associates, meanwhile, faced allegations of their own. 25-year-old Brendan Paul, who Jones described in his lawsuit as Combs' drug mule, was arrested and charged with cocaine possession during the raids on Combs' properties. Paul pleaded not guilty, but later accepted a deal in May, agreeing to complete a drug diversion program, after which his case will be dismissed. The deal was offered because Paul is considered a first-time offender, and the substance amount allegedly found was not of a trafficking level. The spokesperson for the Miami-Dade State's Attorney Office said.
Can we go there? So just to catch people up.
Ooh, nigga.
What he's reading here and how it translates in real life and how some of you guys sound when you speak on topics of sexual assault and shit like that. Some of you want to distill sexual assault down to the actual act of
right.
But as you can clearly see in these cases here, there weren't a lot of cases where that was the thing. So what I would say to you who would attempt to minimize this is, and I shouldn't have to do it this way, but I understand how limited you are in your empathy. Imagine your daughter,
right,
your mom, your sister, your cousins, your aunt, working in that environment, having to deal with that. Does it seem innocuous now?
Right. Side note, I said this on the show before. I hate people who vilify people for using that as an appeal to people's humanity, because people have varying levels of empathy. It's really that simple.
No, people are imperfect pieces of garbage,
right?
And sometimes you have to.
Sometimes you have to do it that way.
They won't say they will not.
And for some people, not all, for some people, that is what works for them.
Yeah.
So
they won't make the connection or the association
otherwise,
just based off of humanity.
No. It's not realistic. That's idealism, and I hate that shit. But anyway, in early April, yacht steward Grace I'm not going to.
Somebody ought to. Discord is wilding. And somebody ought to make the dude a suit like the Riddlers, but with inappropriate symbols instead of questions.
In April, yacht steward Grace, I'm just going to call her Grace, sued Combs and his 26-year-old son Christian, alleging that Christian drugged and attacked her on board a luxury vessel rented for a 2022 vacation in St. Martin while filming a since-scrapped family reality TV show for Hulu. According to NBC News, Grace can be heard in an audio recording asking Christian to stop touching her legs. She claims Christian later tried to force her to perform oral sex, allegations he denies through his father's lawyer. Christian Combs' lawyer did not reply to a request for comment on the allegation, but previously claimed that Grace's complaint was rife with manufactured lies and irrelevant facts. Part 7, is this the end? And that's kind of why I named it.
Okay.
Got it. On May 4th, Combs posted a video of himself standing by an ocean, staring down a tropical monsoon with his arms outstretched as he recorded voice of his spiritual advisor, T.D. Jakes, booms. Not hysterical, not frantic, not anxious, not fretful, but steady in the storm. While Combs gathers support where he can, the new allegations have reshaped his world. After stepping down from Revolt, he reportedly sold his shares in March. The Harlem Charter School he co-founded reportedly cut ties and scrubbed his name from the website.
Whoa. He sold his shares. So he just made some more money. Go ahead.
Yeah. In April, premium liquor giant Diageo revealed it paid approximately $200 million to buy the outstanding 50% share of their De Leon tequila brand from Combs, fully dissolving their partnership. In a 2023 court filing, Diego said that Combs had amassed nearly $1 billion from their 15-year relationship. And the wave of lawsuits reignited industry beef with Combs' longtime rival 50 Cent, who was making a documentary about his downfall. Combs is prepared for a fight for his reputation.
Stop. 50. See, this is another example of you need to really consider who you're making enemies with. Now,
thanks.
Long time ago, making an enemy of 50 Cent didn't seem like that big of a deal, other than
right.
like that. But that man has since transformed himself into showrunners and like, so this is I've often said, as much as people cap about the effect of rap music with people and the way they see the world, how much more impactful is it when you mix video with the audio?
All facts. Combs is preparing for a fight for his reputation, his legacy, and in some sense, his life. Federal officials,
dead. It's over. The end.
I mean, federal officials declined to say much after the March raids, but a source confirmed to Rolling Stone that investigators in the Southern District of New York interviewed potential witnesses as part of a sex trafficking and racketeering probe. Agents may also examine Combs' alleged ties to the infamous Black Mafia family cartel after the Detroit Jane Doe alleged in her lawsuit that the group is rumored to have seeded Bad Boy. No criminal charges have been announced as of publication. Quote, sex trafficking is certainly a potential component of a pattern of racketeering, or it could be charged on its own. Former federal prosecutor Elizabeth Gades, a member of the team that successfully prosecuted R. Kelly in New York, tells Rolling Stone. The indictments of R. Kelly, Jeffrey Epstein, and Ghislaine Maxwell, high-profile individuals who long evaded real accountability by law enforcement, offer prosecutors a playbook for the possible prosecution of Sean Combs. Combs is known to sport a gold medallion depicting Lazarus, the biblical figure raised from the dead. And why not? He survived the deadly CCNY tragedy, the shooting that killed his top artist, and his Club New York criminal trial, and prospered. He named an album No Way Out, but he's always managed to find one. This time may be different. As more accusers and associates emerge with hellish accounts of their time with Combs, as more voices hint that there are darker stories still to be uncovered, he stands exposed in a much harsher light. To some, his claim that his brutal 2016 attack on Cassie represented a rock bottom from which he has since recovered doesn't ring true. One source knew the former couple says the mogul's rage was always on the verge of creeping out. Rock bottom must be his personality. I've never seen this person. I'm never not seen this person.
Right. He's that's what he is. Like, see, that's the other thing motherfuckers tried to do. He tried to do it himself in that half-ass, what he called an apology, where he's talking about that video represents him at his lowest. No, nigga, no. Absolutely.
But you're always there.
You're that guy.
Right. That's where you live, my guy.
He was saying it was like, I was good for a lot of
Right.
I was good for a lot of years, and then I hit rock bottom that day.
Yeah, no, fuck you.
No.
Misa Hilton, the mother of Combs' first son, had been silent in the wake of Ventura's lawsuit, but after the video broke, she responded by saying, I know exactly how she feels, and through my empathy, it has triggered my own trauma. She declined to comment for this article.
Oh, shit.
It's a long overdue reckoning, says Anna, whose encounter with Combs at the Peninsula Hotel still haunts her. People have been sitting with their experiences for years because you don't know what to do with it, her friend wrote.
Didn't Biggie Mama just say something?
That might be in here. I don't know.
Okay.
Has spoken up then, raised hell earlier. She watched her friend grapple with the aftermath. This experience completely changed Lisa as a person, she wrote. Dickerson Neal, too, says, she was forever changed by a single night. One date with Combs led to the trauma and pain of sexual assault and an ocean's depth of shame. She tells Rolling Stone, learning that Combs allegedly distributed an explicit video of her was devastating, as she suffered debilitating self-doubt and a lifetime of inner turmoil. Oh no, it's not in this article. Those who were watching decades ago have long suspected Combs' legacy would end in disgrace. No, quote, none of this was really a surprise to me, says one of the Howard alums who had knowledge of Combs' attack on a classmate. You're already an abuser in college. You were already feeling you had to have certain power over people. It's time. In an Instagram post in late May, Ventura expressed gratitude for all the love and support she received. With a lot of hard work, I am better today, she wrote. But she added, echoing the experience of many of Combs' abusers, I will always be recovering from my past. Nigga. That's journalism.
Yeah. That's how you go in, research, pull testimonials, connect dots. That's how you do that shit. And by the way, that's also what you YouTubers don't do.
Yeah.
The vast majority of you who consider yourselves news channels, you don't do this type of work. There's a distinct difference between what that person did that wrote that article as opposed to how you do your YouTube channels. I don't care which one of you is, whoever take offense to it, you're supposed to.
Right.
You're not doing the same thing they're doing. That is not to say what you're doing isn't useful. It probably is for a group of people who don't have time to go and sit and read through that shit or don't have the inclination. Go sit through that shit. If you can distill it down into digestible, bite-sized parts for them to understand the gist of what's happening, thank you for doing that. It's the same thing I say about science communicators, right? Typically, science communicators aren't scientists because scientists aren't good at, a lot of times aren't good at communicating to lay people, right? So you need some kind of communicator that's used to doing this, that the expertise may not be the science, but they do have expertise in taking like high-minded concepts like that, distilling it down, and giving to the masses so they at least get the basics of it, right?
Right.
So that's what a lot of these YouTube channels do. But I take umbrage to some of these channels proclaiming themselves to be journalists.
Right.
Big no.
Mike says it's really surprising that Rolling Stone nowadays is probably one of the last few places doing actual journalism. I will point to a reason why this might be the case. Remember that their CEO just left in disgrace.
Oh, yeah. I forgot.
Remember that. Remember, after he put out that dumbass book talking about black people weren't smart enough. Like his ass. Look. Remember that just happened recently.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Interesting. So sum a lot of that up. Diddy's a son of a bitch.
Diddy did it. It don't matter what it is. He did it.
He did it. That's why, it's literally the first part of his name. Did.
Yep.
He did that shit.
Since that video came out, I said a thing, and I'm going to double down on it. I do not need any more proof.
Nope. I'm good.
I am of the belief that he did everything that they're saying. I'm of the belief that he did everything these people are saying that he's done.
You can't convince me otherwise. Like
nothing
the hill you have to climb to convince me otherwise.
On top of the fact that it's just generally hard to prove that something didn't happen.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to prove something didn't happen.
Yeah.
In general.
Sure.
Now, there's no way. There's nothing you could do.
I am basically shorthanding everything about him when it comes to further accusations.
Yeah.
It's shorthand. He did it.
Yeah.
He's Diddy. He did it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he did it.
The diddler diddle. It's just
Diddy means he does things.
I mean,
right? The diddler, because he does things, right?
He did that shit. Don't even matter. He did that shit.
I don't listen. Even if you was to tell me that said event took place 1,000 years before.
Cosmic said, "Diddle me this." Come on, yo.
Diddle me this is insane, yo.
Diddle me this. Diddle me this.
Yo, Y'all gonna make me go and watch that horrible Batman movie with Jim Carrey as the Riddler.
Bruh.
Yo,
Bruh. Again, this is, I wouldn't be surprised if that one dude wrote this article, that Raimi dude.
Why are we doing Dr. Seuss now? Like, why?
So yeah, this was a lot. There were some things in there that I didn't know about.
Yeah, same.
That's it's a lot to process.
It's a lot to process, but you know what? And I'm sure for a lot of people, it is difficult to process all of that, particularly if you have been a fan. Some of y'all though are really funny to me because
Yikes.
y'all act as if y'all were straight up passionate stands of Diddy, and I don't think that's the case for all of y'all. I don't. I think there are some absolutely, but some of y'all, I don't think that's what it is. It's like we said before. Some of y'all are not defending Diddy.
Right.
Some of y'all are defending yourselves. You are defending against the idea that a man can be blamed for this stuff.
Right. Because in some cases, you're not actually defending your past actions, but you're still defending yourself.
Yes. That's listen, when I hear y'all go on these tangents about it's bad because anybody can accuse anybody of anything. See, here's the thing which I fail to realize. There's a trail. It's a trail filled with evidence, data points, testing. There's a trail. You want to keep making it about the fact that Diddy was, I guess, about to buy PBS or something. I don't know what the fuck it is y'all talking about. That shit, right? Every time one of these motherfuckers, first of all, let's get a couple of things straight. One thing in particular, when you have a lot of money, you're about to buy a lot of things. There's a lot of things you can point to and say, he was about to, y'all gotta stop, y'all gotta stop trying to use that as a reason. Because if that's the case, with all the shit he's done, the moment he attempted to buy it, that would have came out.
Yeah.
All of it. Y'all,
because that's how that works.
It works. It didn't take them decades to go at Cosby.
No.
For inquiring about the purchase of NBC. Inquiring. And they told, let me give you an example of what that would be like if that shit made any fucking sense.
Mm-hmm.
You got a car. It's been sitting in your driveway for a couple of days. A neighbor who doesn't really know you that well likes the car. He comes over and says, hey, I would love to buy that car off of you. How much? And then you say, the car is not for sale. And as the guy walks away, you go, but since you asked, I'm going to ruin your life.
Right.
Y'all sound dumb as shit. Y'all sound stupid as a motherfucker. Oh, you asked to buy this for that? So tear down the fabric of your reality. What? Who? They simply told him no. Contrary to what apparently is popular opinion amongst these motherfuckers, nobody can force you to sell anything. All right? Contrary to popular opinion, nobody can force you to sell anything. When they walk up to you, it is not offensive. Right. The only time I will grant you it's offensive is if you're walking through the mall with your wife and somebody walks up and says, hey, I'll buy your wife off of you.
Sure.
That's when okay. Okay. Right? But asking to buy a television network? What? And for inquiring about it? Now they ruin your life.
Yeah.
It's absurd. It's patently absurd. And y'all should feel bad because I feel bad that I live in a world where people that think like that.
Yeah.
That's and what makes it worse is nobody, not me, not SBJ, not Adequate, not Marissa, not Cindy, not Discord, not Mike, not Cosmic. None of us should have to explain that. None of us should have to explain that.
No, it should be relatively easy to understand.
Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. This is the reason why there is a strong level of separation that I have from the people who entertain me by the things that they do very well, and a familiar connection as far as feeling like they family or something. Because I can see somebody going hard for family, like, nah, he ain't do it, she ain't do it, blah 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 blah. That's what I'm doing. I understand that. These motherfuckers, they sung some songs and danced on some shit. Like that's not enough for me to just all of a sudden abandon reason and say, no, it's impossible. No, it ain't. And what we are routinely finding is horrible conduct from the wealthy.
Right.
Horrible conduct from those that are famous. We are finding that on a regular basis. And why does it matter? Because what happens with certain types of behavior like this, it's attributed to the poor. It's attributed to the people who don't have money, don't have class, don't have this. To the point where you had somebody like Drake saying, if I did all that stuff, they would have ended. I'm too well known and famous and rich to have done that.
Oh, God.
Patently false. Just false. They attribute a lot of this type of behavior to those that don't have much. So not only do they have the indignity of not having enough money to pay for healthcare, being a paycheck away from being homeless, all that shit, they also have to be attached to fucked up behavior. The poors. The poors are out here doing crazy shit. No, the wealthy and famous out here doing crazy ass shit too. Horrific shit. And a lot of the shit they do affects a lot more people because they have the money to do so. All this shit stink, the high heavens. All of it. All of it. And I know I can't say I don't want to see this anymore. Well, yes, I can. I say I don't want to see it. But the question is, am I going to actually? Yes, because it's more of you daily. I see it even now, no matter what evidence comes out. Diddy could be, we just saw a video. We just saw a video. So the idea that, well, there wasn't no video, y'all keep moving the goalposts.
Yeah.
Y'all keep moving the goalposts. There ain't no video. Then the video comes out. Yeah, but we don't heard this one. We don't know what happened before the video. She could have did something inside the hotel room.
Not to do that.
Yeah.
Not to do that.
Flat out, flat out bugging. But you see how the wealthy and famous can just say shit.
Oh,
and there's just a segment.
No, that's kind of no. That's kind of that is the proof of the rule. Like legitimately, the point. See,
yeah,
I gotta look at it differently now because that's kind of the point that he's unintentionally making.
Yeah,
he's unintentionally saying that because I'm so rich and because I'm so popular, none of you are actually going to believe that I did any of these things.
Because you're going to say, why would he do this?
Right. And my favorite defense, such and such can have any girl they want. Why would they?
Yo, when you deconstruct those talking points, you know what you find? Idiocy.
Oh, yes.
It's all you find is idiocy behind that.
100%.
What are you talking about? So the idea is that because he has access or he thinks he can get any woman he wants. First of all, we know that's demonstrably false. Literally in that thing you read, he massaging shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
Massaging
telling him no.
They're telling his ass no.
Yep. So obviously that's not the case.
It's not true. It's not true. It's put up there a lot.
Yeah,
and I think
absolutely.
some people are speaking for themselves.
Yes,
they're speaking for. He can have. Why would you do that to you? He got enough money. He can have me.
right.
And it ain't all women's just thinking that too.
No,
Some of you guys too.
mm-hmm.
That's some of y'all thinking that. And I know that's part of it because I saw some of these same arguments with Chris Brown and Rihanna. I heard these things coming out their mouth of men and women.
Yeah.
Men and women.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally one of the red flags I should have took note of with an ex that was siding with him.
Yeah.
It was a red flag that I chose to ignore. Why? Because she had all the other trappings. Highly educated, making a lot of money. Surely she couldn't be a person that's so disturbed to think that has to be. No. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. That was a flag I should have noticed.
Yeah.
So I'm noticing all flags now. All you motherfuckers online spending shit like this, it's a flag. Flag on the flag. Flag on the flag. Right there. You're in court.
And to that point, McKenna said, not to mention they have the money and fame to overshadow any actual article or reporting about them by doing something absurd or releasing a new product. Right. This decision with fluff, that legit article is buried and doesn't get the connection it should.
Oh my God, bars.
And that's what, but here's the thing. Sometimes, like in this Diddy situation, that ends up not working because that's what he tried to do. That's what he tried to do with giving back the publishing and dropping that album and doing this. That's what he tried to do.
Bury this shit right here.
He tried to flood the algorithm.
No, sir. And
came and smack that ass down real quick.
I'm gonna tell you, and here is where we get to the part why shows like ours are so important. Yeah. Because you see ER pit bulls.
Yeah.
Once we've locked on your ankle, you're not getting the ankle back. Once you presented yourself to be that, what you all see the caption under the videos of us, your heroes have no power here. Once we get, this is why shows like ours are important. And it's not just us. There are other shows that do the exact same thing.
Absolutely.
We on you.
Mm-hmm.
We on you. No. All that fucking Wizard of Oz shit about the ignore the man behind the curtain. No, we are on you.
Yeah, bring that ass here, boy.
No Diddy. Listen. We on your ass now because you gave us the opportunity.
Yeah.
And we will use you as a cautionary tale.
Oh yeah, just hold up. Just like the R. Kelly shit.
Just like
until the day that he is behind bars. Anytime something else come out about this nigga, we talking about
on you.
100%.
So all that trying to throw gorillas do this. Feel threatened. Maybe they don't want to have the physical altercation at the point. What they do is they grab leaves and branches and dust and they throw that shit up in the air, hoping with some subterfuge. Nah, we on you. We on you. I know you just dropped it. I know your man's just dropped a new album, so you wanted to talk about that, but we're not. I know your man just gave people back their masters and shit, and you want us to talk about that. We're not.
Well, we did, but we exposed that shit for a fraud that it is.
Right. We see you. We see you, and no amount of obfuscation, right, can keep us from seeing you.
Thanks.
We see you. Yeah. You are a piece of shit, and it ain't just. And that's the other thing. It ain't just Diddy. And look, it's about time, because I'm gonna tell you what I'm tired of motherfuckers doing. I'm tired of motherfuckers getting all this fucking money, dressing nice, and putting on these airs of sophistication in public, but behind closed doors, they're fucking thugs like this nigga.
Yeah.
And people give them the benefit of the doubt because they dress clean, their skin's all nice, they talking all proper, they running out here doing charity events. Everybody who's been watching the show for a while know how I feel about big charity. That shit is not what it appears to be.
Right.
It's not. I have a lot more respect for us poors donating money because we don't have it like that. And also, knowledge-wise, we don't know that this big thing here is potentially not giving shit the way they're supposed to get. We don't know that. We're giving from the heart. Like, yo, that's just bad. Give them some of this. Those guys that give all this fucking money, there are several reasons why they could be doing that. Okay. And on top of that, we're not sure that's actually getting to the people. Yep. So, B, these motherfuckers hide behind these charitable acts. He threw a benefit for such and such. He had on a tux. He ain't do that. All right, yo. All right. Okay. You see how his shit fit? His fit?
I hate people.
Y'all motherfuckers kill me, man. Y'all fucking kill me. He spoke real articulate on that interview. Surely he wouldn't do that. Get the fuck out of here. All kind of debate. Look, I'm gonna tell you something about that Epstein list. A lot of motherfuckers on that Epstein list, when you saw them in public, the times you saw them in interviews and things they talked about, they all seemed like they were some above board motherfuckers. They still found their way on Epstein's island. And suddenly, I would like to go to your island. like, come on, bro. Like, it's a masquerade. It's the same shit I be saying about politicians. Yeah. Although that masquerade is starting to come down because they realize they don't have to do as much for certain large segments of the population to still support them. They can say the fuck shit they're thinking, and their constituents, they'll patch it up. They'll rewrite it for them. Like a chat bot that does the rewrites. They'll rewrite. So the famous politician says some fuckity fuck shit. The people who want to believe in him or her then come after that and reword what they said to try to make it make sense. I see this shit all over social media. I see you motherfuckers doing that. See the call a spade. He said some fuck shit. She said some fuck shit. This shit reveals something about them, their character, and possibly you shouldn't be supporting that shit anymore. Maybe you need to look more into this person. Instead, what the constituency does is rewrites what they said for themselves and reframe it. So it doesn't make it so it doesn't seem as bad. This is what they tell themselves. But what that person said, trust me, they do focus groups, all of this shit, just to see how you're going to react to a position they hold. And that position could be 100% shitty. They have found a way and about self-interest. And they have found a way to take these positions that's all about self-interest and are very shitty and turn it into something that makes the poors, a segment of the poors go, it makes sense. I want my son about stuff like that. If somebody say some shit to you, make them make it make sense.
Right.
Don't go behind them. No, while you're in that conversation, make them make that make sense.
It's just like a debate.
Yes.
They made a claim. Burden of proof is on them.
Facts. Not on me. You made the fucking claim. Prove it. Back it up.
That's it.
That's all.
That's it. Very simple. But that's all we had for you today. Just a 2,000 word article.
That's all. That's our 3-hour mark too.
Right.
I don't really have a whole lot. There was something I was gonna say, but it's small, it's petty. Somebody stealing spices off of our fucking porch.
Wait, what?
My mother-in-law has a small garden on the porch.
Mm.
She finds that some of her shit has been snipped and taken in this neighborhood. And I told her, it ain't a random. This a neighbor. Guarantee you, because a random, when they walk up, they can't see that shit, what's up there from the fucking street. That's a neighbor. That's a neighbor.
Why would you risk?
The big question of the day is why would you risk? But let's layer that up a little bit more. Why would you risk me catching you?
Well,
why? Everybody around here has seen me. Right? Everybody around here has seen me. They know I ain't that tight.
Well,
why the fuck?
That's clearly obvious.
Like, why would you do that? You have roaming in your neighborhood, a 6'1", 265 asshole from the neighborhood. Why would you come up to his house and try to pull some shit like that? What is wrong with you? But I thought it was interesting. Like, really?
Yeah. What?
Really?
That's kind of wild and bold.
But it's bold as shit. So you're pilfering spices and vegetables off of people's porches, my guy? You're the porch pilferer?
That is weird.
In this neighborhood, too.
Yeah. It's really weird.
I have no words. I don't know. But here's the thing. Looking into getting a camera for the front porch.
Yeah.
Looking into it.
Yeah, just get a Ring camera.
Don't make me catch you.
Yeah.
It'd be funny as shit though. Be funny as a motherfucker is if I look at that Ring camera and it's SPJ. I need some for my cooking shit. I was like, you could have just asked me.
Listen, nigga. If that was the case, I'd have been back with some food.
Facts. Hey, look, yo, I took some of the spices on that nigga shit. Saying, but here's some food that I made with it. Oh shit.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, hold on for a second. I went in the house and got you some of those snips that she could hear the next time. She got that shit
for you. Okay. Oh my god. Oh man. I don't have a lot. This motherfucker got fired.
Oh yes. I think we should hold that.
No, I can't tell the whole story, so I'm just gonna say what I can say.
Okay, that's true.
So I talked about before. This person got in trouble before. Actually, I don't know how much I told about it because again, that was a story that I really couldn't tell the whole story either. But I know I've at least referenced it on the show. Basically, what's the most? I didn't even write notes for this because, like I said, I can't say most of it. But so there was a guy worked for the company. Somehow I stumped. Another employee told me that he was doing something he wasn't supposed to be doing on the computers. But what she saw was something super innocuous, like he was writing some type of book or something.
Right,
I'm like,
right.
Okay, I hate that you brought this to me because now I have to investigate, blah, 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 blah. I go look at his computer. It was much more than that. It was absolutely much more than that. He was doing some stuff that potentially could have gotten everybody in a lot of trouble.
He was diddling.
No. It was just he had something. I can't say.
You can't say it. You can't say it.
This first instance of things that he was doing, I don't think anything was malicious or anything like that. It just happened to happen, and it was very dangerous. It could have gotten a lot of people in a lot of trouble. For some reason, they decided not to get rid of him. I thought that was a terrible idea. My boss was like, no, he needs to be gone. But she got outvoted. All right, cool. A few months passed. Last Saturday, while we were doing the show, I got a phone call. Missed the call, but when I looked at my phone, I saw that I had a message from his manager. Manager was like, hey, a different coworker, so not the first girl, another coworker stumbled across him doing something that he should not have been doing on the work computers. I'm like, God damn it. Got off of the show, hit her back Like, what is it? She was like, no, this is when she said inappropriate, I'm thinking just, oh, it's not work. It's not work related. Like last time.
Right.
It just wasn't work related. That's what made it improper, because it was not fitting inside of the propriety of what you should be doing with our computer at work. No, this time it was actually inappropriate. Like inappropriate. And I went over there, and the person who saw it was like, "Did you read it? Did you read it? Did you?" I'm like, calm down. There are protocols that I have to go through first. I have to do the proper things. Like I'm looking on the computer for any other things that might potentially be there, trying to find every instance of everything, because I know what happened last time. And I know that we had a different manager there at that point in time, and that manager had their own issues with their ego and their sensitivity and all that other type stuff. So that wasn't the best person to help this type of thing go the way it needed to go. The manager that's there now is absolutely rock solid. So I was like, all right, let me go through all this. I found two things. One of them was more similar to what he was doing last time. No, I'm sorry. One of them was more similar to what the other coworker caught him doing last time. This other thing was highly, wholly, and completely inappropriate. I cannot say what it was, but my God. So
see, that's what he get. That's what he get for getting put into a play and wearing the wrong clothes. My God,
you stupid. So, I emailed the two things in question to my boss, and I texted her like, "Hey, such and such is doing stuff that they're not supposed to be doing again." And this time I don't know what's worse, because the first thing could have gotten a lot of people in trouble. Right. This thing, I guess, it's technically traumatizing. So I don't know which one's worse, but I was like, I don't even know which one's more urgent. But I said to her, they're doing a similar type thing, but a different type thing. I can't really explain it through message. You need to look at the email. And if you need to call me, I'm available, because it was my day off. I'm Saturday. She texts me back. She's like, "I'm not home. I will look at it when I get home." All right.
Oh, damn.
So I leave there. I come back home. About 45 minutes later,
oh my
phone rings. He calls me. She's like, "Well, that's." She's like, "Well, that definitely wasn't work related." I said, "No, it was not."
Oh, he was putting in work.
I said, no, it was not. She said, "Well, what do you want to do? Do you want to take the computer?" I said, "Well,
take the computer. He got to
but I have no say on whether he goes or not." She was asking me like how I think we should handle it at that point. He would have been gone the first time. She's like, you want to take the computer? I'm like, "Well, I don't come back to work until Thursday. And I know how the last time went. And the last time didn't end how you and I felt like it should have ended. Yeah. So I don't want to tip him off that anything is wrong. So I didn't take the computer. I didn't take any file. I didn't delete any files or anything. I didn't do any of it.
Clear, folks, something was very
wrong. Yes. So because last time, I don't know if I said this on here, but last time when he did the other thing, I told the manager specifically, do not say anything to him. And the first chance the manager got, they said something to him.
Oh,
so by the time the powers that be saw, it was deleted. So I was like, yeah, I don't want to do that, because I don't want him to get tipped off. I don't want any, deleting of any evidence. I don't want none of that to happen. So I left everything where it was.
I did last time.
Right. Then my boss was like, okay, I'm going to talk to legal right now. And if they want the computer, I'll come grab the computer on my way to work.
Right.
I said, okay, we got something. I'm fully expecting him to still be employed when I came back to work Thursday. Memorial Day was Monday, so we didn't work Monday.
Right.
Tuesday morning, by 10 o'clock, I had 2 text messages. One from the manager there that said, dang, I know I always joke about wanting to be an agent again, but I didn't know it would happen like this. And a text from my supervisor, saying, hey, we're going to change some passwords at this location. Such and such has been fired. I said, oh, shit. that was fast. I called the manager. I'm like, what happened? And they were like, it happened relatively quickly. I got the word from downtown. They told us to go ahead and do it. I hit such and such. He got to work before we did. So he asked about the computer. But at that point, I didn't know anything. So instead of saying something that might tip anything, I just said they're doing maintenance on the computers. She said by the time she got to the job, she had found out what was happening and what was going to happen. They got there, her and somebody else got there, grabbed him, went in the back, let him know, hey, you're gone. He asked why. They said loss of confidence. They didn't go into any details.
All right.
Lost confidence. Pulled over. I said, oh.
Oh, you know what probably happened after that, right? Somebody was dying to tell him why. So some anonymous.
You stupid.
Announcement like,
yo,
you did this.
Bruh. And it's like,
it's bad.
Oh.
It's bad.
Oh.
It's bad, bro. It's it's bad.
No, I was like, yo, that's crazy. I'm like, what? And several people that found out what happened, not like what he did, but that he got fired,
right,
were like, well, they were tangentially aware of what he did. They didn't know the details of what he did. They were like, why would he do this after what happened last time? And I'm like, that's where I said the thing that I said. I said, you guys are misinformed.
Yeah.
It's because he understands computers better than you do. It's not make him a smart person.
And that's what see how we've gone full.
No, he's a dumbass. He's a veritable dumbass. He was a dumbass when that first thing happened. Yeah. He's a dumbass when the second thing happened. And now he's an unemployed dumbass.
And he should be humiliated.
I mean, nobody can legally go that far. I don't know,
but I mean, in himself, he should be
absolutely.
Because the reality of the situation is, like you said previously, just because somebody is very well schooled on specific things does not mean they're overall smart. A lot of motherfuckers are not overall smart, and I've seen it. Like, you will go to their place of work, and they seem relatively competent. Right. Relatively competent. Go check them out in other aspects of their life,
bro.
Yeah. Like, come on, let's keep it a buck.
If I could tell y'all what happened the first time, and why one of his previous jobs kind of mandates that he knew that was a bad thing, and I still don't believe he realized he was doing a bad thing.
He's dumb. That's
how dumb I think he is. Like, I don't. It didn't make sense. None of it made sense. It's like, why? But I genuinely believe he was not being malicious. I genuinely believe he didn't see anything wrong with what he was doing, and that is the problem.
That's a big
problem. Is scary.
I can understand motherfuckers who know they doing wrong.
Yeah, I get you. I understand what you gain in this situation.
But a motherfucker who thinks they right with that, it's like, it's a lot of that though. Like, I see a lot of that too. Where people, when you have these conversations with people about a specific thing they did or somebody else did, and y'all talking about it, and they can't find the connection point to why that was wrong. Yeah. It's like, so you don't see that?
Yeah, no idea.
So the next question for me would be, if given the same situation, would you have acted in the same way? that this person did.
Right.
I need to know.
Yes,
I need to know.
Absolutely, 100%.
You know,
But yeah, that was the craziest thing that happened to me this week. So I think that's a good place to
that's a good place to drop it.
Yeah.
We want to thank all of you once again for joining us. Black Culture Geeks Saturday morning cartoon block. Your continued participation is what allows us and inspires us to continue to do this show. Do not forget, there is always music. Always music. And I gotta say, damn it to that. Because I wanted it to not be.
I mean,
but it's
nothing
hard.
you can really do about it.
I can't.
It's a part of,
So
it's woven into the fabric.
This week, probably gonna drop a few more. It's like, damn it.
Yeah.
I get out of this shit.
No.
Drag me back into it.
Nope.
Right. Thank you, Sean. Thank you.
There's nothing you can do.
Yeah, so there's music. Do not forget also to check out my sister, his significant other, Chrissy's Heard It Through the Grapevine podcast as well. Don't forget our brother, Super Side Guys, Metas and Mutants, along with our other brother, Hendrick. You know what I'm saying? Co-hosting. You know what I'm saying? Go check that out. Those of you that have not purchased a comic book, we still have a few physical copies left before we go and restock. So if you want to get that, go ahead and snap that up if you want. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh shit! Look at this. Of course he would say that. Of course he would say that. But for my man SPJ, I am Tombstone the Dead Man, and for the greater multi-world entertainment family, we are out.